Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto can absorbs memories from the people from their soul part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In a secluded cave near Konoha. Wah! It hurts. That was the wail of one Kushina Uzumaki, the current host of the Kyuubi. She was currently giving birth to her son Naruto. Calm down, Kushina. Yelling isn't going to make it go any faster. It's just going to alert everyone in a 5-mile radius that you're giving birth. Shut up, Kurama, before I chain you up again. You have no idea how much this hurts. I bet that if you hadn't enhanced the Uzumaki bloodline, it wouldn't be hurting this much. Even though the Kyuubi was an entity of near infinite power, it still didn't want to be chained up again, so it shut up as it recalled how the pain was in a way partially its fault. Flashback no jutsu. In some place that has no impact to the story. Kushina, there is something I want to talk to you and Minato-san about later. Okay. Even though Kushina and Kurama didn't talk much unless it was important, they still had some sort of respect for each other to the point where they were on a first-name basis, so when Kurama actually did want to talk to Kushina or Minato, they knew it was important. In Kushina's mindscape. So what did you want to talk to us about, Kurama-san? A man with bright yellow spiky hair asked. Yeah. Usually you don't want to talk to us much unless it's important. It's about your son. What? Is something wrong with Naruto-chan? What is it? Kushina asked on the verge of panic. Even though she had only carried the child for a few months, both she and Minato already loved him. Calm down, Kushina-chan. I'm sure if it was something like that, Kurama-san would have taken care of it himself. Minato calmly interjected, stopping his wife from working herself into a fit. Indeed, if it was something like that, I would have taken care of it myself without informing you, as there would be no need. This is something of a more personal choice. Oh well, what is it? Your child will have a very weak Uzumaki bloodline. Even though Kushina cared about her almost dead clan, it wasn't something she really worried about that much. She could just have another child, and she was planning on slowly restarting the Uzumaki clan in time rather than having to be part of the Clan Restoration Act. Her status as a Jinchuriki put an emphasis on her continued mental health, something having multiple husbands could easily disrupt. I'm sorry, but I don't really understand why that would be a problem. I wasn't finished. Having a weaker version of their bloodline, his chakra won't be potent enough to counteract my ambient chakra running through Kushina's body. Because of this, he will most likely have whisker marks. Now that was something that gave them pause. While many Jinchuriki are given some ability due to their Biju without having to directly tap into their chakra, almost none of them had any distinguishing physical markers like facial markings. The whisker marks associated with the Kyuubi's chakra were due to the Gold and Silver brothers. The Gold and Silver brothers Ginkaku and Kinkaku were two Kyuumo shinobi who tried to take the Kyuubi for Kyuumo. They were eaten but survived by eating the Kyuubi's stomach meat. In doing so, they also absorbed some of his chakra, which caused the tips of their hair to turn black and whisker marks to form on their cheeks. Because of this, the Kyuubi's chakra began becoming associated. The whisker mark on their cheeks formed by some of the corrosive effects of the Kyuubi's chakra. The reason Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Kushina didn't have any were because the powerful chakra of the Uzumakis were able to resist the corrosive properties of the Kyuubi's chakra. While they would form if they tapped into enough of its chakra, other than that there would be no constant physical markers. Kushina-chan, that would be like painting a target on Naruto's back. Even though the Hokage's son would definitely be watched carefully, there was no guarantee that someone couldn't slip through to try to obtain the Uzumaki bloodline. It had already happened once. I know, Minato-kun, but what do we do? That is why I called you down here. What do you mean, Kurama-san? Minato asked, unsure what they could do in this situation. Due to having been sealed in two Uzumakis, now I have a decent idea of their genetic makeup. I could manipulate your child's genetic structure so that his Uzumaki genes would become dominate, however that would open up a new host of problems. What do you mean, Kurama? Wouldn't it just cause his chakra to become stronger? Kushina asked. She understood why the Kyuubi wouldn't make this change by itself, but she didn't understand what other problem it would cause. No, Minato wasn't hailed as a genius for no reason. The gears in his mind were already turning. It would also cause his physical appearance to change. His chakra would become stronger, but it would also cause his hair to turn red, am I right? Indeed, once again you prove your position as the brains of the relationship, Kyuubi said, ignoring Kushina's indignant squawk. Minato picked up where he left off. That means Kyuumo might try to kidnap Naruto for their bloodline program like what they tried to do for you, Kushina-chan. Minato concluded with a frown, remembering the events that lead to Kushina's almost kidnapping. Silence reigned as both Kushina and Minato processed what this meant. There's no contest. While Naruto having the Uzumaki physical traits would make him a target for Kumo, his whisker marks would make him a target for every power-hungry village out there that would believe he held the Kyuubi. Not only that, but there was also a chance that some enemy village would put together that Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi if they got a hold of Naruto and found out he didn't have the Kyuubi. As much as I don't like it, I agree with Minato on this point. Do it. Very well. Consider this my baby shower present to you too. As Kushina and Minato began to fade from the mindscape, Kurama smirked and added almost as an afterthought. Ah yes, by the way, this will probably make childbirth even more painful than it already would be because of my chakra also being in the womb. Just for your information. In the real world. Kura Amamavea AAA. End flashback no jutsu. Do you think she'll be okay? Minato asked nervously as he worked to repair the seal. Kurama wasn't trying to break out, but the seal was still collapsing. Of course! Sarutobi Biwako exclaimed. This kind of pain would kill a man. But women are strong. Gah! Come on, you can do it, Kushina, Naruto. Unknown to those inside the cave, the last ANBU fell as a masked man slipped through the walls of the cave. I can see the head, Biwako said, trying to comfort Kushina. Just a little more, Kushina. It's okay, Kushina, you're almost done. The Kyuubi offered from inside the seal as its perch on a miniature moon began to crumble. Naruto, come what? Minato said as he tried to repair the seal. As the sound of wailing filled the room, Biwako hurried to wrap the newborn Naruto, as she showed Kushina and Minato their new son. It's a healthy boy, Biwako said with a tender smile. Haha, I'm a father, Minato said with tears running down his cheeks. Naruto, I finally get to see you, Kushina whispered, exhausted from giving birth. Looks like it worked. No whisker marks and a nice tuft of red hair, the Kyuubi said from within the seal with no small amount of pride in its voice. It's not every day you modify the genetic makeup of a human. If you all right, Kushina, you can relax now. Kurama, just sit tight, I'm fixing the seal. As Minato began to repair the seal, he was interrupted by Biwako's cry as she hit the floor. Turning around, he saw his newborn son in the arms of a man in a black cloak with a mask with one hand over the baby's face. Yandiem Hokage Minato Namike, step away from the host or your son dies at the ripe old age of 1 minute. How did he slip through the barrier, and what happened to the ANBU stationed outside? Minato thought as he prepared to move at an instant's notice. Who on earth is he? To his side, his wife moaned in pain as she felt the seal begin to destabilize. Shit, whoever this guy is, he's good. He did his homework and put us in an extremely compromising position, the Kyuubi thought as it tried its best to re-establish the seal. Get away from the host, the masked man demanded as a kunai slipped into his hand. Or do you not care what happens to the brat? Wait, calm down, Minato said as he tried to find some way to stall for time. You're the one who needs to calm down, Minato. I myself am perfectly calm. Seeing as how Minato wasn't moving, the masked man threw Naruto in the air and tried to stab him with a kunai, but before he could, Minato speed past him and caught the baby in midair. As expected of the yellow flash, the sound of hissing was heard from the bottom of the blanket. But what about the next one? Grabbing the baby in one hand and the blanket in another, the yellow flash disappeared. Minato, Naruto. In one of Minato's marked safe houses, a small house in the forest exploded and a man shielding a baby were thrown out by the force. Thank goodness Naruto's unharmed. Grunting as he pulled a piece of wood out of his shin. He forced me to use the Haration. He's after Kushina and Kurama and now I'm not with them. Gritting his teeth, Minato teleported to the next nearest safe house to put Naruto in a safe place. A secluded clearing. What do you want? Kushina said as she tried to stall for time until Minato arrived. Her seal, spread from her body, was wrapped around 4 stone pillars that surrounded a smaller rock in a lake as she was hung above the small rock. To take the Kyuubi from you and destroy Konoha. What? Kushina, this man has the Sharingan. He is going to take me from you. There is nothing we can do at this point. But if you were to willingly release the seal, it would give you some more time to live, and give me one shot at ending him. Alright, but that probably means that you're going to be sealed into Naruto after this. The markings for Minato's Haration, which allowed for him to teleport to their location, were incorporated into your seal. I know, but that is still better than being under this one's control. That also means Minato will probably have to seal you in. Naruto, can you promise me something? Kushina asked Kurama as tears streamed down her face. Minato is always protecting you. What? He promised me that you will look after Naruto when I'm gone. But now I've gotten him away from you. The masked man gloated as his Sharingan appeared in the single eye hole of his mask. I promise. Furthermore, the seal is weakened after you gave birth. Do you know how long I've waited for this brief moment? And the land shook as the Kyuubi was released to the earth for the first time in almost 100 years. You'll be safe here, Minato said as he tucked little Naruto into a bed. Die! Kurama roared as he swung his claw at the masked man. Just wait here a bit, Naruto. The earth shook as the Kyuubi's blow crushed the area where the masked man stood. Something isn't right. Almost on cue, the masked man seemed to phase out of Kurama's hand. How interesting. I was told the Kyuubi was an irrational creature filled with hate, drawled the masked man almost lazily as he made eye contact with the Kyuubi. Oh well. It makes no difference. Shit! Kushina, get away, the Kyuubi exclaimed as its eyes changed from their usual shape into a Sharingan before its pupils dilated completely. Just now the Kyuubi tried to defend you, and now I will use him to kill you, the masked man said as the hypnotized Kyuubi turned around and prepared to crush Kushina. I have to go save your mom. As the Kyuubi's claw approached Kushina, she closed her eyes, thinking of her newborn child who would have to shoulder the burden of being the next Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Naruto. However, when she opened her eyes again, she wasn't bloody paste on the floor but in the arms of her husband, and they were on a tree on a cliff. It appears you still have the flash, but it's still too late, the masked man mumbled as he prepared to move to Konoha. Minato, Naruto, is Naruto alright? Kushina panted out as she felt her life slowly leaving her. Yeah, he's alright, he's in a safe place now, Minato replied as he turned to glare at the masked man and the hypnotized Kyuubi. Minato, you have to stop that man, and Kurama, he's heading for Konoha. Minato remained silent as he jumped back to the safe house he left Naruto at. He teleported again. It doesn't matter, we now head for Konoha. In the safe house where Minato left Naruto. Why? Kushina asked when she got a look as to where Minato has brought her. It's fine, Minato comforted Kushina, even though he felt his own words rang hollow. You're with Naruto now. Naruto, Kushina cried as she pressed her forehead against his. Minato, watching his wife cry as she slowly died, clenched his fist as he prepared to go confront the masked man. Minato, one last thing before you go. Kurama, after he was released from the seal, he had one chance to attack the masked man before he was taken control of. The attack phased right through him, but it looks like he has to turn tangible to transport something. I think it's some kind of space-time jutsu. I understand, I'll be back soon. Minato, thank you. Line break. A 5-year-old Uchiha Itachi sat outside of his house's patio as his newborn brother Uchiha Sasuke, as a feeling of dread passed over both of them and Sasuke began to cry. Don't cry, Sasuke, as your big brother I'll always protect you no matter what. In the streets on Konoha, two people were discussing a matter of grave importance. These two people were a 13-year-old Hitaki Kakashi and Might Guy. Can't we just decide by rock, paper, scissors today? The white-haired Hitaki drawled. Not that again? Can't we have a more youthful battle for once? The dare this author say it, youthful Might Guy screamed at the top of his lungs. Hey Guy, do you feel something weird? The air feels cold. Smoking a pipe, the aged third Hokage was looking at some paperwork when he sensed the Kyuubi's chakra. It can't be. Appearing in an ally, the masked man knelt down, and the night that would be known forever as the day of the Kyuubi attack began. Kuchios no Jutsu. Suddenly appearing in Konoha, the Kyuubi let out a might roar and began to destroy everything in sight. Line break. Sandame Hokage-sama. An ANBU appeared. Panicked the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi has suddenly appeared in the village. Dressing in his black battle armor, Sarutobi Hiruzen, once known as the god of shinobi, immediately took command. I know. I'll take care of it. You all protect those who can't fight. Yes, sir. Kuramadano, did you break the seal of your own volition, or are you being controlled? Flashback. Kushina's mindscape. The fourth and third Hokage stood with the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki in her mindscape, the Kyuubi having called to tell them something important. Hiruzen Sarutobi Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, what I am about to tell you is something I have only willingly admitted to 3 others who were in turn your first and second Hokages and my previous Jinchuriki. The 3 people in question looked around at each other. For only 3 other people to have known this, it must have been a pretty big secret. The reason you receive little to no fuss from me being sealed inside you is because it is something I myself asked for. That surprised them. What reason would a creature as powerful as the Kyuubi have for wanted to be sealed? During the Battle of the End, where Uchiha Madara Kurama spat out the name almost like it was a poison. Fought your first Hokage, it was a little known fact that Madara controlled me using his Sharingan. Since there is a clan of those with the cursed eyes, I requested to be sealed inside your Shodame's wife because I could sense her powerful chakra and that my own would not harm her. It was mutual benefit. She would be able to call upon my chakra in her time of need, and I would never again be controlled by those cursed eyes. Giving them a minute to let them possess this, the Kyuubi continued. Look at my eyes. You can see how they are vertical slits, correct? After receiving a round of nods, he continued. When I am under the influence of an Uchiha, my eyes either become round and dilated like you humans, or there is a pattern of a Sharingan. End flashback. How did it come to this? Minato thought as he prepared to subdue the Kyuubi. One moment it seemed like his family would have a picture-perfect ending, the next, his wife was dying, his son was going to have to be made into the next Kyuubi Jinchuriki, as no one other than someone with Uzumaki could handle getting the Kyuubi sealed within them, and they had a serious information leakage. Before he could move, however, a hostile presence appeared behind him. Spinning around and lashing out with his Horatian kunai, he saw his attack pass through the man. That must be the intangibility ability Kushina warned me about. Minato thought as his hand was caught by the masked man. Since he turned tangible, that must mean he's planning to transport me. As the space around masked man's eye hole distorted, Minato reacted instantly and teleported. He jumped again. I'll have to suck him in the instant I touch him. Near the destroyed safe house. He knows I am one of the only people who could seal the Kyuubi, that's why he's coming for me. The Yondaime Hokage as he prepared for the masked man's arrival. The masked man arrived in a swirling vortex seconds after Minato finished his preparations. Not many people could break through our barriers and have space-time jutsu that advanced, not to mention you got though the Sandaime's personal A and BU like they were fresh gen, and not many people could do that. Who are you? Minato asked as he shifted to a battle stance. Then again, I guess it doesn't really matter who you are, but then the question would be why you're attacking Konoha. I guess you could say it was on a whim and for a plan, the masked man said, and he pulled down his hood and revealed a battle chain attached to his wrists. But I will say it was for war, and through that war peace. For a whim and for a plan, that means either that he has some plan for the Kyuubi and attacked Konoha on a whim, or he has some plan that involves weakening Konoha and getting the Kyuubi was just the means. There is no hope F dash, was all the masked man could say before a kunai phased through his head. It doesn't matter, I'll end him to eliminate a threat to Konoha. All the same, revenge for my family is just the cherry on top. Speed is, while one of the fundamental aspects of combat, one of the most important. Maybe in an all-out brawl with no weapons or armor, strength and stamina would also as important, but neither of those could help you when a knife slits your throat. While the Yondaime might not have the destructive wood and water ninjutsu power of the Shodaime and Naidaime respectively, or the jutsu arsenal of the Sandaime, his speed, unrivaled in the elemental nations, his sealing skills, which included his famous Horatian which let him teleport instantly to a special seal that he could tag on people / things, and his Rasengan, an original jutsu that let him grind through any defense. All combined to make him a near unstoppable juggernaut in battle and first shinobi to be elevated to a SS rank in the bingo book and given a flee on sight order. This is something the masked man, Tobi, Madara or whatever the hell he wanted to be called, was experiencing firsthand. Shit, I don't know what exactly this seal is doing, but I have to get out of here, Tobi thought as he blocked another knife strike to his neck as a kunai passed through him. The seal that Tobi was referring to earlier was a seal spread out on the ground that Minato prepared before Tobi arrived. Basically what it did was interfere with his space-time jutsu, making it so he could only turn one part of his body intangible at a time. While it didn't stop it completely, it did stop him from simply turning intangible whenever the Yondaime lunged at him. At the moment he was beginning to feel like a cornered rat. The kunai spread around the seal let Minato teleport to him whenever he got close to the boundary, and when he tried to just suck himself into his own dimension he just got smacked down before he could finish moving. So far he managed to avoid any fatal wound and getting tagged, but it was only a matter of time. This is taking too long, Minato thought as he sliced at Tobi with one arm and finally tagged him with the other arm. There. Teleporting behind Toby, he smashed him into the ground with a Rasengan, while simultaneously putting a contract seal on him. Shit. The QB! Toby thought as the Rasengan exploded, cratering the ground and kicking up dust everywhere. In Konoha, the Leaf Ninja were putting up a valiant effort against the QB, but it wasn't known as the strongest of the Biju for nothing. Hundreds had already died at its claws, and the destruction of Konoha seemed all but inevitable when suddenly the QB jerked as if it had been struck by something massive. Noticing this, all the Konoha ninja jumped back as it jumped back outside of Konoha's walls before it lifted one clawed hand and grabbed its head. With Minato and Toby. As the dust began to clear, a figure jumped out holding its arm. Landing on a rock that was sticking out of the now destroyed ground, the figure was revealed to be a badly injured and panting Toby. Ha ha ha. Shit, even with all the training Madara gave me, I still can't match up to Sensei. Turning towards Konoha, Toby thought. That last attack, if the seal hadn't been disrupted by the Rasengan, and if I hadn't made myself intangible before that Rasengan exploded. Dripping blood, the area around Toby's mask began to distort and suck him in. In my current state, going for the QB would be suicide. You won this battle, Sensei. But I still won the war, and I'll be back for the spoils. In Konoha, Kushios, food cart destroyer. Suddenly appearing out of nowhere, Gamabunta flattened the QB. Seeing the Toad boss, all the Konoha ninja regained hope. It's Yandame-sama. Yandame-sama's here to stop the QB. Almost as soon as Gamabunta appeared, the QB disappeared. Minato, appearing from atop the Toad boss's head, jumped and down-handed Sarutobi a scroll before disappearing. Curious at what the scroll contained, the Sandaime opened the scroll, scanning it before his eyes widened and burning the scroll. Gritting his teeth, Sarutobi located Minato's chakra signature and sped after him. What the scroll contained at the front of his mind. Masked man with Sharingan attacked after birth. Release QB. Drove off masked man. Sealing QB. Take care of my son. Miles away from Konoha. URG, I'm guessing you beat the man with the mask. My head is pounding. Yahaha, I need to put up a barrier so no one interferes. I'm almost out of chakra. Let me, I still have plenty of chakra, Kushina said as chains shot out of her back, crossing to form a makeshift barrier. I'm guessing you plan to seal me in the child, the QB said as it saw Minato summon a ceremonial pedestal. Wait, that's the Hack Shiki Fuin, 8 trigrams dead demon seal. You'll die if you use that, Kushina exclaimed. What are you doing, Minato? There's no reason for you to use that seal, the QB said, just as surprised as Kushina. There is a reason. First is that I don't plan on just making this a seal. Minato began to explain as he ran through seals. If Naruto had been born without the Uzumaki bloodline, I would have had to seal half of your chakra in the Death God with me, but since he was, I don't need to. While the seal will dilute your chakra to stop it from unintentionally harming Naruto's undeveloped coils, once it is released and Naruto can handle your undiluted chakra, it will then work as a gate. With it, you and Naruto will be able to use a form far more powerful than a simple full possession. Wait, why would he need that? I thought you defeated the masked man. I did, but I couldn't finish him. I realized 2 things today. The masked man who attacked you, he will bring catastrophe upon us, and this child is the one who will stop him, Minato said as he finished the last seal and summoned the Death God to seal the QB into Naruto. Any last words? I'll seal the rest of both your and my chakra in Naruto after I use the Shiki Fuin so we can meet him when he's older. I also want you to help him control the QB's chakra, but that will be far into the future. Naruto, don't be a picky eater. Eat heartily so you grow up big and strong. Take a bath every day and keep warm. Make sure you get enough sleep. Make friends, true friends you can really trust. And as for women, don't fall for a strange one. Find a woman like your mom and don't become a pervert like Jiraiya. Naruto, you will face many painful times and hard times, but just be yourself and have your dreams and the confidence to make those dreams come true. I really wish I could be there to teach you so many more things. I really wish I could be with you longer. I love you. Naruto, as your father, I'll just second everything your mom said, Minato said before he looked up at the QB. Kuno Kurama, you'll be there to watch him for us, right? Like a godparent, right? Yeah, I'll make sure to watch him, but since that pervert sensei of yours is his godfather, would that make me his godmother? Kurama joked with a grin. Hey, yeah, I guess it would. Alright, are you ready, Kushina Kurama? Yeah. Yes. Fuin. It was a sunny day in Konohagakure no Sato, and a boy with spiky, bright red hair and blue eyes was playing alone in the forest. This boy was Naruto Uzumaki. Since the people at the orphanage weren't very nice to him, he usually liked to be left alone. Sure, he could just jump around and make a lot of noise so that people would look at him, but there was this funny voice in the back of his head that told him not to. Granted, he couldn't really hear the voice very well, but he understood it was basically telling him drawing attention to himself would be a bad idea. It was pretty easy to avoid people because he could, in his own words, feel this weird feeling where people were. Some people felt really big, like the old man in the funny hat, who was nice to him, or that man with the white spiky hair who sometimes followed him around. When he asked the old man in the funny hat about him, he said that the person was a friend of his parents, and while he couldn't take care of him, the man wanted to make sure he was safe. But everyone felt different in some way. There were other people who followed him, but once the man with the spiky white hair got to them, they either went away or disappeared. Thinking about it, there weren't any other people who had as big a feeling as those two in the entire village, and there was another person with a big feeling coming into the village. Kakashi Hatake couldn't help but smile as he saw his sensei's son scamper off into the foliage. The boy was just enough of both of them to be in his comfort level. If he was a carbon copy of either sensei or Kushina, Kakashi didn't think that he could look at him without feeling the overwhelming guilt that anchored him to the memorial stone on a daily basis. It would be like reminding himself who he failed whenever he looked at the boy. Speaking of which, it was about that time of the day. Creating a shadow clone to watch over his sensei's legacy, the son of the white-fanged Shunshin to the memorial stone. Today was an important day. An ambassador from Kumogakure was in Konoha to try to negotiate a peace treaty, but many of the upper-level shinobi, including the Hokage, were wary of him. Many of them still remembered the failed kidnapping of Uzumaki Kushina many years ago, and they wouldn't put it past Kumo to try it again, especially with her orphaned son running around. Honestly, who else in Konoha has that bright red hair? Nighttime just outside the Hyuga compound. A figure darted out of the Hyuga compound carrying a black bag the size of a small child. Yasaka Hitori grinned, almost not believing how easy this was. While he was sent under the guise of negotiating a peace treaty, his true purpose was to kidnap the Hyuga heiress for Kumo's bloodline program. While many people would think it was sickening to subject innocent young girls to such a thing, Kumo didn't care as long as it got them more power. Pausing to catch his breath, Yasaka caught a glimpse of bright red hair just before it disappeared into the bushes. Naruto was having fun playing in the forest just outside of the Hyuga compound when he felt that new signature that came into the village today. Oddly enough, there was also a second, much smaller signature with it. Deciding to check it out, he hoped through the bushes until he saw the person carrying a child-sized black bag. Figuring that the second signature was coming from that bag, Naruto jumped off to warn the man with the spiky white hair. He was nearby. Shit, I can't let that brat warn the village's security, Yasaka thought as he chased after our protagonist. Bursting into a clearing with an odd stone, the Kumo Jonin managed to grab the child by the hem of his shirt. Finally, having caught up to the kid, Yasaka finally got a good look at him and a feel of his chakra signature. Wait, bright red hair, massive chakra reserves for his age, holy shit. This kid is the last Uzumaki. Grinning madly as he ignored the kid squirming, he thought about what kind of reward he would get for this. Like just about every other village, Kumo heard about the Kyuubi attack. After doing some digging, it was revealed Kushina Uzumaki died, but there were rumors of a kid with bright red hair with massive chakra reserves running around after the Kyuubi attack. The civilians all thought it was the demon reborn, but the people at Kumo knew better. While rare, bright red hair wasn't limited to only Uzumakis, but all those with the Uzumaki special chakra had bright red hair. This is perfect. When I take you and the Hyuga girl back to Kumo for their bloodline program, I'll be set for life. Slamming the still squirming kid on the ground, Yasaka prepared to knock him out when he felt a prick on the back of his neck and then knew nothing but darkness. Kakashi sighed as he finished tying up the Kumonin who tried to kidnap the Hyuga heiress and his sensei's son. While the nin would have probably been caught and killed by Hayashi, who was just now arriving to retrieve Hinata, the fact that he chased after Naruto meant three things. First, that Kumo knew Kushina had a son with the Uzumaki bloodline. 2. While the nin was chasing Naruto at the time, his main target was the Hyuga heiress. 3. And most importantly, Konoha now had a bargaining chip. If the nin had been killed, even though he was trying to kidnap the heiress, the treaty still meant that Kumo would still been able to demand reparations. However, since they had the man alive and caught him in the act of trying to kidnap the heirs of two clans, not that one of them knew that yet, there was nothing that Kumo could demand from a legal standpoint, and Konoha now held all the cards. Turning around and looking at the red-haired boy clinging to his leg, he slowly patted him on the head to calm him down. It's alright, Naruto. The bad man can't hurt you now. While Naruto wasn't treated very well in the village, nobody actually ever raised a hand against him. fearing the wrath of those who cared deeply for him due to the fact that they had connected the dots and figured out Naruto was Kushina and Minato's child. On that note, with the attempted kidnapping, one of the major clans of Konoha could probably demand to adopt him under the pretense of protecting him from future kidnappings. Kakashi knew for a fact that the Uchiha clan was trying to adopt him due to Kushina and Mikoto being very close and Fugaku actually being Minato's cousin twice removed, a fact very few people knew. The only reason Kakashi knew is because Fugaku actually approached him to try to get his support to adopt Naruto, feeling he owed his distant cousin at least that. Kakashi himself couldn't adopt Naruto because he was only 16 and was an ANBU, but he did give Fugaku his blessing even though it didn't really matter at the moment due to the civilian council trying to cock-block them at every turn. Okay, let's go to the old man now, Kakashi said, taking Naruto's hand. Hold on. Naruto's voice came out sounding as if he hadn't used it in days, which was probably true considering how he was treated in the orphanage. Timidly walking over to the girl hiding behind who Naruto assumed was her father, he stuck his hand out. Hello, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. What's yours? Blushing from behind her father's legs, Hinata stuck her hand out and grabbed Naruto's offered hand. My name is Hyuga Hinata. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you too, Hinata, Naruto said with a small smile before he walked over to Kakashi. Okay, Kakashi. Hatake Kakashi, said the man with a smile. Most of his face was covered by a mask and his headband, so it came out as his eye looking like an upside-down U. Okay, Kakashi Nizan. I'm ready to go. Nizan? Kakashi asked with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, the old man says you're always looking after me, like an older brother would. Hee okay, then let's go, Ototo. Grabbing Naruto's hand and the tied-up Kumo shinobi, both Naruto and Kakashi disappeared in a shunshin. In the Hokage's tower, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed as he remembered how he was appointed Hokage again. After the Kyuubi attack and his successor's death, he retook the mantle to help stabilize the leaf. Trying to honor the Yandame's last wish for his son to be seen as a hero, he told the village as his status as a Jinchuriki. The reaction was split down the middle. While the civilians called for his head, many of the more experienced ninjas remembered about Kushina and her status as a Jinchuriki, and coming to the conclusion that during childbirth, Kushina died and the beast had to be sealed into her son. The bright red hair helped many realize that, when it was released. Recognizing the sacrifice Naruto's family was making, even if they didn't know who the dad was, the Jonin and clan heads were quick to rein in any and all bias towards Naruto. Since then there have been many attempts to adopt Naruto, but the civilian council was being petty and denied any and all requests due to that Naruto was technically a civilian. The Sandame still remembered when he first brought Naruto to the council and his one-time rival Danzo suggested that he be turned over to him and made a weapon. All the shinobi clan heads stonewalled him and poured enough killing intent towards the civilian council that they could barely control their bowels, much less open their mouths. Thinking about his old teammate Hiruzen couldn't help but feel disappointed. Danzo had become such a short-sighted fool in his old age. Believing that the village was the metaphorical king, he would do anything to anyone in the name of the village. He had forgotten Hashirama and Tobirama-sensei's reason for building the village in the first place. To create an environment where children wouldn't have to go out into the battlefields and parents wouldn't have to visit said children's shallow graves. The third fire shadow was broken from his musings by a knock on the door. With a tired come in, he looked up at the door and saw Kakashi holding a tied-up Kumo-nin. With a sharp look in his eye, he gestured for him to close the door and explain. Around 8:30 at night, Naruto came across this Kumo-nin holding a small child-sized bag outside of the Hyuga compound. Knowing he couldn't beat him by himself, Naruto came to find me but was seen by the Kumo-nin, who then proceeded to give chase. Naruto was able to reach the memorial stone before he was overtaken. Hiding just before he arrived, I heard the Kumo-nin's intentions of taking both the Hyuga heiress and Naruto back to Kumo for their bloodline program. I then subdued him as Hayashi-sama arrived. I let him take the Hyuga heiress back to their compound while I brought Naruto to my apartment. After that I came here to report to you, sir. Sarutobi sighed as he took out his pipe and lit it with a small katan jutsu. Take him to Ibiki and call the council for a meeting. Honestly, it wasn't surprising. Once you've seen one warmonger, you've seen them all, and Sarutobi had to deal with one on an almost daily basis. Still, it was somewhat disappointing that Kumo played down to their expectations. Every Konoha ANBU was deployed, creating an impregnable barrier around Konoha. No one was getting out without them knowing. At least he could use this. Now they had a bargaining chip against Kumo, and he could use this to strong-arm the council into letting a clan adopt Naruto. Speaking of adoption, he pulled out a stack of papers out from his desk drawer. After the Kyuubi attack and the matter of Naruto's adoption came up, Uchiha Fugaku was the first one to offer. Granted, the civilian council immediately shot any and all attempts down, but Fugaku was stubborn and refused to give up. Every other week he received a request from the Uchiha clan to adopt one Uzumaki Naruto, but the civilian council immediately shot it down every time. At first he was suspicious, seeing as how it was an Uchiha, not that anyone besides himself and the Kyuubi knew that was behind the Kyuubi attack, but after some digging he found the truth about Minato and Fugaku's relationship, and decided to give him his support. Smirking, he began to fill out the paperwork to adopt one Uzumaki Naruto into the Uchiha clan. He had the civilian council's number this time. Council chambers. So it looks like Kyumo really did try to kidnap the brat. That was the voice of the Jonin commander Nara Shikaku. He had predicted that since Kyumo had already tried to kidnap Naruto's mom, they would probably try to kidnap him too if given a chance. Yep, but I hear he wasn't captured by the ANBU we have around the village, said a cheerful heavy-set man named Akamichi Choza. Apparently Kakashi was the one who took him down. We have him in interrogation and torture right now, added Yamanaka Inoichi, the last of the first-generation Inoshikacho. The door to the council chambers opened to reveal the Hokage and his two teammates Mitokado Hamura and Yudatane Koharu. Settling at their seats at the end of the council table, the Sandaime cleared his throat. We are here today to discuss two things. First is Kyumo's attempted kidnapping of two clan heirs and the adoption of Uzumaki Naruto. I thought we already made our point clear. That demon isn't going to be adopted, said Cliché Council Member 1. That's right, and there is nothing you can do about it, screeched a pink-haired Cliché Council Member 2. That's where you're wrong, said Sarutobi with a grin that was positively victorious. But I will get to that. At 9 p.m. a Kyumonin was apprehended trying to kidnap the heirs of two clans. The near-extinct Uzumaki clan. Insert flinch for Cliché Civilian Council and the Hyuga clan. Because of this I feel it is appropriate to leave him in the tender mercies of Ibiki. In a deep dark torture cell, Yasaka Hitori was waking up. He felt his arms and legs restrained and he couldn't see or feel his chakra. Hello Yasaka. Would you like to play a game? Oh thank God. For a second I thought they gave me to that sadist Marino Ibiki. I swear that guy gets his jollies off of torturing people. Yasaka's blindfold was then removed to reveal the grinning face of Marino Ibiki. No, oh. In the council chambers. Oh, was heard all the way from the INT department. Ahem, yes, well, as I was saying, because of the negligence of the civilian council one of our bloodlines was almost stolen. Therefore I am forbidding the civilian council from interfering in any matters related to the Uzumaki heir Uzumaki Naruto. What? You can't do this, said Cliché Civilian Council Member Number 3 as they were escorted out of the room by ANBU. Yes we can. Due to your bigotry you spit on the legacy of Yuzu and in the process almost lost Konoha, a powerful bloodline, and our Jinchuriki. While you might want to get rid of the demon, remember, in Kyumo's hands that demon might come back to exact vengeance, Hamura said in a stoic tone. When Kyumo learns that we have detained one of their head jonin, they will be out for blood. What I want are ideas that end in our benefit without war, Sarutobi said to bring the conversation back on track. Hiruzen, you cannot be serious, said Danzo as the one-eyed warmonger mungered for war. They are obviously in the wrong here, and since this is Kyumo we are talking about, they won't let it go unless we give them what they want or put their balls in a vice. Taking a deep breath, the Sandaime rubbed his forehead. I know Danzo, I know I do have an idea that will, in your own words, put their balls in a vice, but I want to hear the other suggestions so we don't have to resort to that. Surprised that Sarutobi was still capable of thinking like that, Danzo simply nodded and stepped back. Some ideas were dribbled around, but it seemed no one was able to agree to a realistic solution. Some wanted to simply execute the Kyumonin, while others wanted to release him as a show of peace. However, in the end it seemed that Shikaka lived up to his position as Jonin commander and took control of the situation. Hokage-sama, if I may? Yes, Shikaka-san, what is it? What do you plan to do if Kyumo doesn't accede to our demands? I think it would be best if we had an accurate idea of how much of a trump card we have on them. Sighing, Sarutobi lighted his pipe and took a long drag before he blew out the smoke. The man we captured is, as I said, a Kyumo jonin, but what I hadn't mentioned yet is that he is one of their head jonin. Right now he is down in INT, having very piece of information in his brain being extracted by Ibiki and an assistant. As it is, we have access to all of Kyumo's dirty dealings, so to speak. Every record of every kidnapping, failed or successful. Knowing Kyumo and how hungrily they amass power, we could probably convince both IWA and Mizu to go to war with them. With Suna and us, that would be 4 of the 5 great nations all attacking one place. They would be completely crushed. However, that vacuum of power would lead to the balance of the nations destabilizing. Everyone would be trying to get as much as they could from the remains, and it would probably begin the next great war. Silence echoed in the chambers. Right now they had the opportunity to destroy one of the 5 great nations, but it would be the start of the 4th Great Shinobi War. No, causing the destruction of a nation for a simple kidnapping attempt would be too much. That is why I want to find some other solution. What we know is that Kumo won't give us their Jinchuriki or give us any of their bloodlines. What else can we ask for? Jutsus? Resources? Someone give me something. We could ask for training for our Jinchuriki, Danzo said. Silence once again greeted the room. Not because of the words spoken but because of the speaker. Within Konoha, Danzo was a well-known warmonger. The fact was that he and Sarutobi often bumped heads because of their respective views on what was best for the village. Danzo wanted war and Sarutobi wanted peace. The fact that Danzo was suggesting a viable alternative that didn't end in war was enough to shock everyone into silence. I know that most of you think of me as nothing but a deluded fool wanting war for no reason, but hear me out. At the moment we are weak from the Kyuubi attack, but we have never had a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi actually use its power. However, during the last war, rumors sprung up about Kumo's perfect host. If we were able to harness the raw power of the Kyuubi, then Konoha's position as the strongest ninja village would be cemented once again. Very well. I believe that is a good idea. At the moment, the peace treaty, even if it was just a distraction, is technically making Kumo our ally if we decide to ratify it. However, Naruto-kun will not start until he believes he is ready and reaches at least Chunin rank. All agreed? Agreed, chorused the room. Now on to the second order of business. As I said, now that the civilian council is no longer involved in decisions pertaining to Naruto-kun, he can now be adopted without them stonewalling us. Since Fugaku has been the most vocal about his wishes to adopt Naruto into the Uchiha clan, I will let him. Unless there is any objections, this meeting is adjourned. I need to prepare for when Kumo learns about their head Jonin being detained. Kumo the cure. Damn it! Followed by the sound of a desk smashing through a wall was the screen in the Raikage's office. It was supposed to be a simple kidnapping, but the damned ambassador overstepped his boundaries and got caught. Sighing, the Yondaime Raikage rubbed his forehead. Sarutobi held all the cards in this case, and he could only send another ambassador to try to negotiate his head Jonin's release. In Kakashi's apartment, one red-haired, blue-eyed child slept in a dreamless sleep, the events of the night finally catching up to him. This was the scene Kakashi happened upon coming back to his apartment. Seeing his sensei's son so innocent and naive, it made him want to put each and every civilian council member's head on a pike. He had come to tell Naruto about his new family, but he could always tell him when it was finalized. Tucking Naruto in, Kakashi decided to go to the living room and catch up on his reading. When the Kumo ambassador came to Konoha, he was simply given a scroll and told to be on his way. When he asked what was in the scroll, he was told that it was Konoha's demands and what they would do if said demands weren't met. Figuring it somewhat odd, he decided to look in the scroll. Paling rapidly, the ambassador made tracks back to Kumo. Kumo the cure. At least they aren't asking for anything too drastic, A sighed in relief. With the dirt Konoha now had on Kumo, they would be able to set the rest of the great shinobi nations on them like wolves on a piece of meat. They really screwed the pooch on this one. Trying to kidnap not only the last of the Uzumaki clan but also the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Kumo was lucky that Konoha didn't decide to just shoot first and questions later. On the bright side, the alliance with Konoha would be smoothed over if Kumo agreed to this. It was a deal of mutual benefit for both sides, but Konoha was still holding a metaphorical gun to Kumo's head in this one. Grabbing a blank scroll, the Yondaime Raikage wrote his response and prepared to send the scroll to Konoha. They might be able to get the Uzumaki bloodline just yet. Kanehagakur. Sarutobi Hiruzen let the pipe drop out of his hand as he read Kumo's response to Konoha's demands. They had agreed, of course, but A had suggested something to further cement the relationship and eliminate any bad blood between their nations. An arranged marriage, but not just any arranged marriage. An arranged marriage between Niyujito the Jinchuriki of the Nibi no Nekomanta and Uzumaki Naruto the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko. While it might end up giving Kumo the Uzumaki bloodline, it would almost permanently tie together Kumo and Konoha. Jinchuriki were inherently more loyal to each other due to the fact that just about every Jinchuriki grew up hated and scorned. If Yujito and Naruto ended up growing close enough and Kumo tried to break off the alliance, Yujito would stay with Naruto rather than go back to Kumo, especially considering that she had no real connection to the Kage as most Jinchuriki did to secure their loyalty. The question is, however, if Yujito and Naruto would truly bond. Yujito was 7 years old, a fresh genin out of Kumo's academy even though she had been training with the Nibi's chakra her whole life. Naruto was 3 years old, and not even aware of his burden. Sighing, Hiruzen decided that once Naruto entered the academy he would tell him of Kurama the Kyuubi. The academy would color Naruto's opinion of the old fox even though the attack years ago wasn't really his fault, not that anyone but him knew that. Not to mention how Naruto's parents probably asked Kurama to take care of their son. The reason the old fox hadn't made contact yet was probably due to how pumping enough of its chakra to forge a link to the boy would have killed him. All things considered, this is alright for now. I hope Naruto can forgive me when he learns about this. A 6-year-old Naruto was running through the Uchiha compound. It had been 3 years since the Kumo incident and his subsequent adoption into the Uchiha clan. After crying tears of joy, he asked why the Uchiha clan had decided to adopt him. His new mom, Uchiha Mikoto, told him that they were close to his parents. Even though he wanted to ask about his parents, that odd burning in the back of his head told him not to. When he was first brought back, he immediately butted heads with Uchiha Sasuke, his elder by a few months, even though he got along well with his other older brother Uchiha Itachi. Naruto had come out of his shell the last couple years around people he knew due to his new family's love and affection. Mikoto practically showered him in it, and while he and Sasuke butted heads, Sasuke still acknowledged him as part of the family, calling him Oturo, not just to annoy Naruto. Itachi did care, it was just hidden under the stoicism. Fugaku was at first stoic like Itachi, but over the years he adopted Naruto's approach to people and smiled more with his family. Though for some odd reason Mikoto would always tell him to try to stay in the Uchiha compound. When he asked why, she would just say it was because she wanted to be close to her baby, and then proceed to smother him in her cleavage until he passed out. Itachi was, for lack of a better term, near emotionless, just like his father, so you would think Naruto and Itachi wouldn't get along very well. It wasn't until he met Itachi's best friend, Uchiha Shursui, that he understood why. After Naruto had opened up to Shursui and Naruto hit it off immediately, and only weeks after meeting him began to call him Shursui Onizen. The rest, as they say, is history. With Shursui's love of using his hypnotic genjutsu to screw with the members of his clan and Naruto's newfound penchant for pranks, the two began terrorizing the Uchiha clan and Konoha in general. Speaking of pranks, he had just pulled off one of his best pranks yet. He had snuck into the houses of each Uchiha who was in the Uchiha police force over the night and hid the Uchiha police force's spare uniforms, cloths and undergarments, leaving only one uniform available for each of them to go out in. "Get back here, you little brat!" That was covered in bright pink paint with orange accents. Chuckling to himself, Naruto jumped off the roof of the house he was on. Forming a chakra chain, he used it to hook himself onto a tree branch and swung into the forest. It was around a year ago Naruto had discovered his ability to form solid objects out of chakra. He had finally worked up the courage to ask about his clan and his mother. The voice in the back of his head, he didn't tell anyone about it. They would think he was crazy, told him not to ask about his father just yet, but since Mikoto had said she and his mother were very close, he decided to ask her about his clan and his mom. Apparently he was part of this clan that was very good at Fuinjutsu, and had a bloodline that had at least one of 3 traits. The first of these traits was increased longevity and larger chakra reserves. Everyone born with Uzumaki blood in their veins had these. An Uzumaki who was 40 years old would look 20. In fact, the longest any recorded Uzumaki had lived was almost 300 years. The second was the ability to sense the people around them and their chakra levels. This was called Mind's Eye of the Kagura, and Naruto had been passively using this trait in his early years to avoid other people. The last and rarest trait was the ability to shape their chakra into physical forms for combat, or just combat uses. Mito, the Shodai's wife, and Kushina Uzumaki had this trait, Mito's taking the form of a dragon, while Kushina's taking the form of chains. When Naruto tried to do this with his chakra, he found he could shape his chakra into just about any form, but the strength and stability depended on his focus and how much chakra he put into the construct. When he had gotten into an argument with Sasuke about which of their bloodlines would let them be a more awesome shinobi, even though Sasuke hadn't unlocked his Sharingan yet, Itachi had simply bonked both of them on the head and told them it wasn't the quality of the tools that determined a shinobi's worth but the shinobi himself. After finding out about his clan, Naruto immediately began training to unlock his chakra. It took him several weeks, but he had eventually unlocked it and had begun practicing making shapes out of his chakra. When he would get tired from practicing with his bloodline, he would read books about Fuinjutsu. Soon enough, Mikoto had found out and expressly forbidden him from practicing seals, even though she was more than happy to let him read about them. She had even given him a book about sealing, but for some reason she was adamant about him reading about a section that described Jinchuriki. Jinchuriki were people who had these things called biju sealed inside of them and were able to access the power of previously mentioned biju. Apparently a biju attacked Konoha 6 years ago, but the Yandame Hokage used a jutsu to defeat it at the cost of his life, but Naruto wasn't sure exactly how one was supposed to kill a sentient mass of chakra. Dropping into a clearing in the forest with a roll, Naruto stopped for a second to focus his mind's eye of the Kagura. Sensing that the police force had apparently given up and gone back to look for their hidden cloths, Naruto laid down eagle spread on the soft grass and closed his eyes to think about the thing that had been bugging him for the last week. The Kyuubi attack. There were so many inconsistencies in the stories the adults told the children, it was like some bad plot in a shonen manga. For one, the Kyuubi just appeared in the center of Konoha for no reason. If it had come from somewhere, then Konoha would have been able to see it ahead of time and prepare, but no, the Kyuubi just popped up in the center of Konoha and began killing people. That made no sense. The only way for the Kyuubi to just appear inside of Konoha was if someone summoned it there, something he highly doubted with the amount of hate Konoha had towards the Kyuubi itself. Also, since after the battle of Uchiha Madara vs Senju Hashirama the Kyuubi was sealed inside Uzumaki Mito, now that he actually thought about it, his mother's last name was Uzumaki, and when Mito died, since there was no report of the Kyuubi rampaging, so that meant it was probably sealed inside another Jinchuriki who was kept secret, probably so that people wouldn't try to assassinate that person. Wait, seals Jinchuriki people who had biju sealed inside them. Uzumaki Mito, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, his mother Kushina Uzumaki, Kushina the Uzumaki bloodline of more powerful chakra. The date of the Kyuubi attack October 10th, his birthday. The Yandame was a seal master. And everything fell into place. The glares, the hatred, why people treated him even worse on the Kyuubi festival, why Mikoto wanted him to stay inside the Uchiha compound. It all made sense. When Mito had died, the Kyuubi was sealed inside his mother Uzumaki Kushina. At some point Kushina had gotten pregnant with him. During childbirth she must have died, causing the Kyuubi to break free. The Yandame had come to seal the Kyuubi, but he couldn't just seal the Kyuubi into anyone. The Kyuubi's chakra was extremely powerful, and whoever he sealed the Kyuubi into would have been roasted alive by the seal due to the Kyuubi's potent chakra, unless their chakra was powerful enough to counteract it. Powerful like the chakra of those from the Uzumaki clan. Wait. If he was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, then the Sandame would have told him, right? His family would have told him, right? They wouldn't have kept him in the dark about something this big. That's right, thought Naruto as he panicked and lifted his shirt to see if there was a seal and channeled chakra. Tusan and Kaa-chan would have told me when I asked them why people were always mean to me. Itachi and I and Shisui and I would have told me when I asked them what happened to the Kyuubi. Sarutobi would have told me when I asked why I always had to hide during my birthdays so the mobs wouldn't hurt me. They wouldn't have lied to Dash. All thoughts were derailed as a spiral seal surrounded by 8 prongs appeared on his stomach. Hyuga compound. Hyuga Hinata was someone considered a failure by her clan. Even though Hizashi-Ajisen and Niji-Nizan always encouraged her to do her best, she still never matched up to the standards her Otosama let for her. Sighing, she thought of that red-haired boy that she had met 4 years ago during the Kumo incident, Uzumaki Naruto, or rather Uchiha Uzumaki Naruto. After the incident he had been adopted into the Uchiha clan. Hinata wanted to see him again, seeing as how if it wasn't for him she would have been kidnapped by that Kumonin, but whenever she asked, her Otosama would just say we don't associate with Uchihas. He had become especially cold to her after her Kaa-san had died. Maybe she would see Naruto in the academy next year. Forest clearing. Naruto didn't know how long he sat there in the forest clearing. All he knew was that he wanted to be alone. Jinchuriki, the power of human sacrifice. He had been lied to his whole life. The reason everyone at the orphanage was always mean to him. The reason he was always glared at outside of the Uchiha compound. They all knew but never told him. The most powerful weapon of the 5 great shinobi villages. He didn't know what to think anymore. In the book he read it said that Jinchuriki were often related to the Kage to ensure loyalty to the village. There was no way the Sandame was his father, grandfather maybe, but father no. But that wouldn't explain where he got his blue eyes from. Was that the only reason his family was kind to him? To ensure he was loyal to the village? Due to Naruto being caught up in his angst spiral, he didn't notice the person approaching him from the woods. Uchiha Shisui was always considered an oddball within his clan. Where most of his clan was stoic and expressionless, he was more outspoken and when not on duty, wore his emotions on his sleeves. Sure, he was a bit of a pervert, but every man is. These traits caused him to bond with Naruto once he had finally met the boy a few months after he joined the clan. While initially Naruto was distant to him, as he was with everyone he wasn't familiar with, Naruto gradually warmed up to Shui, and the two gained an unbreakable bond. When Shui had introduced Naruto to pranks, it had originally been a ploy to get the kid to steal some girl's underwear. He had taken to it like a fish to water, and the two terrorized Konoha on a daily basis, even though Naruto seemed to have something on his mind lately. While Shui was walking through the woods, he spotted a head of spiky red hair in a clearing in the woods. Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear. Looking at the sun, he noticed it was getting pretty late. Makoto would throw a fit if Naruto wasn't home by curfew, so he decided it would be a good idea to get Naruto home. "Hey there, little guy, how's it going?" Shui said as he walked into the forest clearing with a grin. "I'm fine," was Naruto's answer, blue eyes hidden under his spiky bangs. That set of warning bells in Shui's head. When he first met Naruto, the kid was damn near mute, always trying to make himself appear as unnoticeable as possible. Naruto had warmed up to Shui, and over the years he had learned that Naruto was very vocal about his emotions to people he cared about. If he was upset about something, then he would be bouncing all over the place, and in general raising hell. That he wasn't doing that, and instead trying to bottle his emotions up, meant that it was something big. Sitting down next to Naruto, Shui waited until Naruto was ready to talk. Being a genjutsu specialist, even though Shui was known for his shunshin, he had a decent idea of how the mind works. Trying to pressure Naruto to tell him what happened would just alienate him. He had to wait until Naruto was ready to talk. Sure enough, after a couple minutes, "Why didn't anyone tell me about the Kyuubi?" Putting an arm around Naruto, Shui drew the boy into a one-armed hug, so he was leaning on him. "So you finally figured it out, huh?" The Sandame's law forbade people from talking about Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki, but it didn't stop someone from comforting him once he finally found out. "Well, there's a law that the Sandame passed after the Kyuubi attack that actually stops people from telling you under penalty of death. But still, why was it kept a secret from me when everyone else knew?" Naruto asked, not understanding why the Sandame passed that law. "The same reason that Mikoto Basin tried to keep you in the Uchiha district as much as possible. She and the Sandame wanted you to have as close to a normal childhood as you could, even with your burden. Don't think for a second any of us kept it from you out of spite. We just didn't want to see you grow up so fast," Shui said as he rubbed Naruto's head. "Oh, I guess I understand, Shusuinaken. That must be why Mikoto-Kazan wanted me to read that section about Jinchuriki in the Fuinjutsu book, so I wouldn't be confused and think I was the Kyuubi," Naruto said as his eyelids drooped. "That's right, Naruto-chan, me, Fugaku Ajisen, Mikoto Basin, Itachi, all of us, even though our first loyalty should be to the village and our clan, care more for you and Sasuke-chan more than anything in the world, never forget that," Shui said with a gentle smile. When light snoring responded to him, he lifted Naruto onto his back and set off for the Uchiha clan head house. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but smile as he watched his surrogate grandson bond with his self-appointed brother. Still, he mused the fact that he was able to figure out the events behind the Kyuubi attack and deduce that he was its Jinchuriki when all the civilians are still in their own little fantasy worlds is astounding. The boy definitely had Minato's intelligence. Minato was considered a once-in-a-lifetime prodigy for multiple reasons. One of the most unnerving reasons was how he had a way of obsessing about things until he figured them out. His Hiraishin had come from him trying to figure out the mechanics behind the summoning jutsu, and his amazing ability of seeing underneath the underneath. It was simply impossible to hide things from the former Yondaime. He had figured out Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi only months after having known her. Granted, it took a year for him to finally figure out she was a girl, and almost a decade to figure out she was in love with him. Moving on. Long story short, it seemed Namikaze's men were surprisingly observant when it came to things no one else would see, but because of this, when something was obvious, it would go right over their head. Sighing, Sarutobi figured that Naruto would have to meet the Kyuubi sooner or later. It would better for it to be sooner if he wanted to. With that in mind, he told his secretary to call someone who he thought would be perfect for the job. Uchiha Itachi was a prodigy. This was something he was complimented about on almost a daily basis. Graduating the top of his class at age 7. Mastering the Sharingan at age 8. Passing the Chunin exams at age 10 and enrolling in ANBU half a year later. Many were already saying he was on his way to ANBU captain. Yet almost nobody truly understood him. That small list included his little brothers, his best friend Shui, his mother, and more recently his father. Itachi let out a small smile at the thought of his adopted younger brother Uchiha Uzumaki Naruto. The boy had this odd ability to have people just gravitate towards him. Where once his father was cold, distant, and almost ignored Sasuke, after living with Naruto for a year, he began to change. He became more emotional, spent more time with his family, and no longer ignored Sasuke or doted on Itachi. Sasuke, who was once filled with jealousy towards Itachi for his status as a prodigy, and how everyone would always focus on Itachi, mellowed out. With a new younger brother to spend time with, he no longer felt as neglected. Even Itachi had been changing slowly. While he was still as expressionless as a rock, he now voiced his opinion more often. Naruto's constant pestering caused him to spend almost all his time not training or in missions with Sasuke and him, and he found himself caring even more for his little brothers. There was nothing he valued more than Naruto and Sasuke's safety. Not even the village. When he brought this up with his mother, she told him that he had his father's charisma and his mother's ability to just pull people into his loop no matter how hard they tried to swim against the current. A few months ago, when he had entered ANBU, he had been informed of Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki. When he confronted the Sandaime about why Naruto didn't know, the wizened old man told him that it was kept from him so he would have some measure of a normal childhood, and he would be informed once he entered the academy. While Naruto's parents may have turned him into a Jinchuriki, Sarutobi knew they would want to personally destroy Konoha if Naruto had been turned into an emotionless weapon like Danzo wanted. Itachi had long since figured out Naruto's parentage. Naruto's parentage was simply just one question to his mother away, due to how she, Fugaku, and Itachi would always meet with Minato and Kushina. Hearing that he had a summons from the Hokage, Itachi idly wondered what kind of game he would play with Naruto and Sasuke tomorrow. Hokage's tower. Hearing a knock at the door, Sarutobi beckoned for whoever it was to come in. The door opened to reveal the emotionless face of Uchiha Itachi. "You called Hokage-sama?" "Yes, Itachi-kun, sit down." Taking his pipe from his desk, he lit it with a small katon jutsu. A few moments passed in awkward silence. "I wanted to tell you Naruto has figured out his status as a Jinchuriki." Aside from a slight widening of the eyes, Itachi had no outward reaction. "I see, but that is not the reason you called for me, is it?" Sighing wistfully, the Sandaime let out a rueful chuckle as he made a signal for the ANBU in the room to leave and turned on the silencing seal. "You truly are a prodigy, Itachi-kun, but first, to understand this order, you first know the truth of the night of the Kyuubi attack." "The truth of the night of the Kyuubi attack?" Turning around, Sarutobi nodded with a serious look in his eyes. "Itachi, what I am about to tell you is to be classified as a rank SS secret. If it were not for your rising ranks within ANBU and how close Naruto holds you to his own heart, you would not be hearing this. Do you understand? Do not betray my trust." Nodding once, Itachi focused and made sure to commit the following conversation to his memory. "I'm sure you're aware of the battle between Madara and Hashirama, where Madara tried to use the Kyuubi to gain an edge but inevitably lost, causing the Kyuubi to be sealed into Uzumaki Mito." Itachi nodded. There was no Uchiha who didn't know about that battle. However, something you don't know is that the Kyuubi requested to be sealed into Mito. "What?" "Indeed. Due to the Kyuubi being controlled by Madara's Sharingan, it requested to be sealed into Uzumaki Mito so it could not be controlled again. The Kyuubi is actually quite an intelligent creature." "If that is the case, then why did the Kyuubi attack Konoha?" "While the Kyuubi did attack Konoha, it wasn't of its own will." Eyes narrowing, Itachi immediately reached a conclusion. "You believe in Uchiha to be the cause of the Kyuubi attack," he stated. "Hold on now, Itachi-kun, let me finish. The fact that the Kyuubi can be controlled by a Sharingan is a fact now only known between 4 people now. You, me, the Kyuubi, and the perpetrator of the attack. However, there have been rumors flying about along those lines. Konoha is starting to believe the Uchiha clan as a whole to be responsible for the attack." "That is absurd." Itachi began to protest before he was cut off by the Sandaime. "I know. Fugaku and Mikoto were very close to Minato and Kushina. I believe alone Uchiha was responsible. I was simply telling you the general consensus around the village. Don't be so hasty, Itachi-kun." "My apologies, Hokage-sama." "It is fine. I would have reacted the same way. However, I would ask you to keep an eye on your clan for me in case you may find out the identity of this mysterious Uchiha." "Very well, Hokage-sama, but how do you know it was an Uchiha?" "I will get to that, to Itachi-kun. Now, when Mito died, the Kyuubi had to be sealed into a new host. That new host was Uzumaki Kushina, Naruto's mother. Yes, now there's one time when a female Jinchuriki seal weakens enough for their Biju to be released during childbirth. And when Naruto was born, the person attacked Kushina, ripped the Kyuubi from the seal, and used it to attack Konoha, if I may ask, Hokage-sama?" "Yes?" "Why do you think it was an Uchiha behind the attack and not someone else?" Before the Yondaime teleported the QB to seal it away, he had just enough time to hand me a scroll. Unsaid the scroll, he asked me to take care of Naruto and gave me a general idea of what happened, but there was one word that stuck out: Sharingan. Finished Sarutobi as he let the words seemingly hang in the air. I see. May I receive my orders now, Hokage-sama? Yes, I want you to use your Sharingan to enter Naruto's mindscape so he can meet with the QB. What? That got a reaction out of Itachi. A slack-jawed, eyes wide open reaction. Yes, the QB's previous container Kushina was someone who it respected, and the feeling was mutual. It wouldn't surprise me if Kushina and Minato had asked the QB to look after Naruto before their deaths. If they did, it would be better for Naruto to meet the QB and establish a connection now. Sarutobi explained as he took a few puffs of his pipe. I understand, Hokage-sama, but what if Naruto doesn't want to? Asked Itachi, having regained his composure. Then try to explain to him that the QB is an intelligent creature, and the attack 6 years ago wasn't of its own will. If he still doesn't want to, then don't force him, but make sure he knows that he will eventually have to meet it. I understand, Hokage-sama. May I be excused? Yes. Uchiha clan head residence. When Itachi got home, it was about 11 at night. Ah, Itachi-chan. That was the voice of Uchiha Mikoto, a young woman with long black hair and the Uchiha trademark cold black eyes. Have you seen Naruto? He's way past curfew. A voice came from behind Itachi. I got him right here. Turning around, Itachi was met with the smiling face of Uchiha Shursui with a mop of red hair resting on his shoulder. Ah, Naruto-chan. Thank you, Shursui-kun. He knows he shouldn't stay out this late, Mikoto said, taking Naruto to his bedroom. Ka-san, do you know where Tusan is? I'd like to talk to the both of you. Shursui, you should stay here too, Itachi asked. Fugaku-kun is at a clan meeting. Just let me finish tucking in Naruto-chan and I'll be right out. Mikoto's voice came from the hallway. So what's up, Itachi? Shursui asked as Mikoto came back from the hallway. Deciding to be blunt, Itachi just let it out there. Naruto-kun knows about the QB. While Mikoto's eyes widened with a visible expression of shock on her face, Shursui showed no outward reaction. Shursui? Itachi asked, confused as to why Shursui hadn't reacted. I know already. When I came across Naruto-chan on my way back here, he was still anchored to the spot, depressed because he felt that no one trusted him enough to tell him. When I talked to him about it, he was really panicking. He accepted my explanation and forgave you guys for it. He's got a really big heart, Shursui said with a smile on his face. How did he find out? Mikoto asked, planning on talking to Naruto in the morning when he woke up. The brat might have Kushino-Basin's red hair and bloodline, but he has Minato Jisuma's looks and smarts. He managed to figure it out all by himself. It's a good thing you gave him that book on Seals Basen, because he said otherwise he might have thought he was the QB himself, Shursui said with a smirk. Mikoto smiled at that. I was worried that might have happened. While Kushina-chan didn't have that problem, she told me that she was really scared about becoming its Jinchuriki. I had hoped that if Naruto understood that the demon was sealed inside the person, it would make it easier for him once he found out when he and Sasuke entered the academy. So how is the unrest in the clan? Itachi asked, broaching a topic no one wanted to ask. It's been getting worse. Some of the clan members are even saying we should release the QB on Konoha, Mikoto said with a frown. No. I'd personally massacre them all before I let them harm Naruto. Itachi sneered with an unusual display of emotion. Imbu or not, he was still a 12-year-old kid. Calm down, Itachi-chan. There is no way, Fugaku-kun, and I will let it go that far, but we may have to go to the Hokage soon, Mikoto said. We can't let the Uchiha clan stage a coup d'etat, Shursui elaborated. Konoha is already weakened from the QB attack. If the Uchiha clan were to rebel, it would be the killing stroke. Even if the Uchiha succeeded, Konoha wouldn't be able to defend herself from her enemies. The rest of the major nations would fall on us like a pack of wolves, and it would start the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. Silence filled the halls for a few moments before Itachi spoke up. We should all get some sleep. I'll make sure to talk to Naruto tomorrow in the afternoon. And with that, the three Uchiha went to bed. Naruto's mindscape. Opening his eyes, Naruto glanced around wherever he was. It looked like he was in a giant sewer way, and there was water up to his ankles, but oddly enough it didn't feel wet. Closer inspection of the walls showed that there were really big pipes that had this odd dark blue glow, and that there were smaller pipes connecting to the big pipes with an angry red glow. Looking around, he noticed that there were only two ways to go, forward or back. Since Naruto had no idea where he decided to just put one foot in front of another. A few minutes later, eventually Naruto came to a giant prison with a ceiling tag in the middle. This must be where the Kyuubi is. That means I'm in my mindscape. Why is inside my head a sewer? Maybe because you have a dirty little mind? Boomed a voice from behind the bars. Hey, I'm not a pervert. Naruto shouted indignantly at the voice. Give yourself a few years. When puberty hits, it hits hard, was the voice's sarcastic reply. So you're the Kyuubi I expected you to be, more you know? Evil and all, release me from my prison. Well, said Naruto, feeling odd for having a conversation with what he read was a sentient mass of hate. And I expected you to be taller, Chibi-kun. Well, I just haven't hit my growth spurt yet, Naruto shouted. His height was always a sore point with him. While he wasn't exactly short per se, due to Mikoto making sure he ate more than just ramen, he was still a few inches shorter than Sasuke, so whenever someone commented on his height, he always lost his temper. Well, I found my new nickname for you. So how did I get in here and how do I get out? Naruto grumbled, looking around. It kind of sucked to be stuck in your own mind when your mind was a sewer. You in here because I called you here, and to get out you just, well, I guess thinking yourself out would be the best way to describe it. Oh, so why did you call me down here? Naruto asked. Even though the Kyuubi was supposed to be evil, it seemed as though the giant fox-man chakra thing was somewhat civil. Even though Naruto couldn't see past the darkness, he had the distinct impression that the Kyuubi's eye was twitching. I take offense to being called a giant fox-man chakra thing, you know. How did? We are in your mind. How do you think? Oh. Anyway, the reason I called you here is I wanted to get a look at my godson. What? You're my godfather? Naruto yelled with wide eyes. Technically, I'm your godmother. Your godfather is the white-haired pervert who gave you your frog wallet for your 6th birthday. You mean Erogigi is my godfather? Erogigi was the name Naruto gave Jiraiya. While he couldn't visit, due to maintaining his spy network, Naruto was much as he would have liked, he made sure to show up on his birthdays. He and Sasuke would usually spend time with the man at hot springs, even though neither of them understood why he was always looking through that hole and giggling until they took a look themselves. Since that day, whatever title Naruto and Sasuke gave Jiraiya always had an arrow in front of it. Wait, if he's my godfather, how come I only see him a few times each year? Naruto asked with a frown. He is an important man to Konoha, Chibi-kun. I'm pretty sure that while I was sealed in your mother, I only saw him around 3 or 4 times a year, and even then it was Kushina going to meet him, and your father. So any other questions? After this I would like to form a mental link. It will hurt like crazy, but you won't have to come into your mind to talk to me anymore. Why did you attack Konoha, and who is my father? Yes, the million-dollar questions. I can't tell you who your father is just yet. He had a lot of enemies, and people finding out you were his son is a bad idea, but I can tell you the events of October 10th. Some shifting was heard from behind the darkness. Naruto assumed that since the Kyuubi was getting comfortable it was going to be a long story, so he just sat down on the floor. Long story short, an Uchiha attacked your mother while she was giving birth to you, took control of me, used me to attack Konoha, and then I was sealed inside you. Naruto somehow face fell while he was sitting, but then one part stuck out to him. Wait, you said an Uchiha was the one who attacked you and my mom? Yes, but do not take one's actions as an action of the group. There is a reason why I am just now contacting you and haven't told you to be wary of your family. Naruto would swear he heard the Biju mutter something about insane tanukis, but he couldn't be sure. Wait, what happened to my dad? I can't tell you exactly how, but he loved you and died to protect you. It was technically true. Minato did love Naruto, and he died to give Naruto the power to protect himself in the future. Even though Naruto didn't know who his father was, it still made him feel warm inside to know that his father loved him. Okay, so is there anything else? No, I'll talk to you tomorrow, Chibi-kun. Now get ready for me to forge the link. Mumbling "Nada Chibi," Naruto closed his eyes as a burning sensation appeared in the back of his head and intensified until he lost conscious. The next morning, yawning as he opened his eyes, Naruto sat up and stretched. Looking around, he noticed that he was back in his room in the Uchiha clan head house. Sure, Suinizan must have brought me back last night, Naruto mused as he put on a bathrobe. What an odd dream I had last night. I guess finding out I was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki affected me more than I thought. That was no dream, Chibi-kun. So I'm guessing the link is connected? Naruto said as he stepped into the bathroom and began brushing his teeth. Yep. You now have a voice in your head. Congratulations, you're officially crazy. Meh. Really? Just a meh? Yeah, I mean, it's only one voice, and it's pretty cool to be able to talk to someone who is supposed to be thousands of years old, you know. Naruto replied to the Kyuubi as he turned on the shower. I suppose that's true, Minato. Kushina, forgive me. Your son has become weird, but most people would be freaked out by having a voice in their head. It's not really that bad. It sort of reminds me that you'll always be there for me in a way, and I know you're real, so it's not like I have an imaginary friend or something. Yes, I suppose the fact that I am real would make you feel less insane. Turning off the shower, Naruto dried himself off, got dressed and headed to the dining room for breakfast. Dining room. Mikoto was lost in her thoughts as she prepared breakfast for her family. When Fugaku got home last night, he told her that the unrest was getting really bad and they would have a rebellion on their hands in a year, maybe even less. The Elder Council members were already trying to pressure Fugaku to let them use Naruto as a bargaining chip, something he absolutely refused to do. Sighing, she let her thoughts drift to what would happen if the council refused to back down and the Hokage caught wind of what they were trying to do. While Hiruzen might try to find a peaceful solution, at first he was the Hokage and had to do what was necessary for the village. The Uchiha clan would have to be wiped out completely. There could be no witnesses, no way to link it back to the village, it would have to be a complete slaughter. Otherwise the other clans would fear being wiped out and rebel. When Fugaku got back last night, and she told him Naruto knew of the Kyuubi, the look her husband had on his face was absolutely murderous. When he demanded she tell him who told Naruto, she simply smiled, shook her head and said that Naruto-chan is truly his father's son. Understanding that Naruto found out on his own, Fugaku couldn't help but let a prideful smile show on his face. While Naruto might not have been Fugaku's son biologically, he loved him just as much as he loved Sasuke and Itachi. A huge contrast to the man 3 years ago, who only focused on grooming Itachi to be the perfect clan head and ignored Sasuke. Over the last 3 years, Naruto had truly changed their family for the better, bringing them all closer together. A glance over at Fugaku, who was sitting at the dining table waiting for Naruto to finish showering, as Sasuke was still asleep, showed that Fugaku's face showed no nervousness. Even though Shursui had told her that Naruto had understood why they kept the knowledge of the Kyuubi from him, Mikoto still felt that she should apologize. Even though Fugaku had only responded with the trademark Uchiha Ichin, she knew he felt the same on the inside. As Naruto came into the dining room, spiky red hair bouncing, Mikoto finished setting the table and ushered him over. Sasuke was still sleeping and Itachi was out buying Pocky, so now was the perfect time for their talk. Hey Naruto-chan, can we talk about you-know-it? You mean the Kyuubi? Said Naruto with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Well, yes, your father and I just want to say we are sorry, and we hope you understand why we kept it from you. Mikoto said, gesturing at Fugaku, who just grunted even though he did look sorry. It's okay, Ka-sen-tu-san, I understand. Shursui Nizan explained it to me, Naruto said with a big smile before he went back to eating. Mikoto smiled and shared a look with Fugaku. That was just like Naruto. He never let anything get him down, and always bounced back after he got an explanation. A little while later, Sasuke came in with his duck-ass hairdo messy, followed by Itachi with a big bag of Pocky, and the rest of breakfast was in comfortable silence. Naruto and Sasuke's training grounds. The sounds of two small children fighting echoed throughout the training grounds. Even though they would enter the academy next year, Naruto and Sasuke still liked to train and fight with each other. Of course, they made sure not to hurt each other too badly. Most of the time. Jumping over a sweep kick, Sasuke jumped into a snap kick that hit Naruto in the jaw. Using the momentum from that, Naruto spun and landed a kick into Sasuke's gut and knocked him back into a tree. Ha! It's my win this time, Sasuke, Naruto said while he nursed his jaw. HN. That's only because you've been training in your clan's taijutsu longer than I have. The Uzumaki taijutsu style, the swirling fists, was a style that made use of grappling, so that the Uzumaki clan members using it could apply seals and spinning attacks that used the momentum of your opponent against them. You know, Tuchan and Oniai-chan wouldn't teach the interceptor fist until I unlocked my Sharingan. If I had my Sharingan, I would have won. Sasuke mumbled, wiping some spit from his chit. Naruto hit really hard. No, I would have still won, Naruto stated in a matter-of-fact tone. The only reason I don't use my bloodline is because you don't have yours yet, and since I've had more experience with my bloodline, I would win, Naruto said, sticking his tongue out at Sasuke. Growling, Sasuke stood up and tackled Naruto to the ground, where they began their fight again. Itachi let a smile cross his face as he watched his two younger brothers spar. Even though Naruto liked to say he always won, Sasuke actually won about half the time. Naruto just liked to gloat. Naruto had really taken the news of the Kyuubi in stride after Shisui had sat him down and explained everything to him, though Itachi did wonder how Naruto would react to meeting the Kyuubi. Chuckling as he saw Naruto tie Sasuke against a tree with his chakra chains, Itachi decided he would do anything to protect those innocents. After all, these peaceful days were numbered. After Sasuke had gotten Naruto to unchain him from the tree and the two had decided to take a break, we found our future protagonists lounging about eating the lunch Mikoto made for them. Hey Sasuke. HN? I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Naruto said. Subtly was never his strong suit. Cool. Can I have your tomatoes? Sasuke said without batting an eyelash. Sure, Naruto said in a daze as he handed Sasuke his portion of the tomatoes Mikoto prepared for them. Wait. I tell you, I have the monster that almost destroyed Konoha 6 years ago sealed in my gut, and all you have to say is cool? Naruto shouted in disbelief. Now you know how I felt by your lack of reaction to me. Quiet, fuzzball. I'm talking to my brother here. Yeah. What do you expect me to say? Sasuke said with a perfectly straight face. I don't know. Be more surprised or something, Naruto said, clutching his head. I stopped being surprised by you when you somehow laced Itachi's Pocky with laxatives and got away with it. Deadpan Sasuke. But wait, how did you know it was me? Who else has the balls to touch Itachi's Pocky? When Shisui tried that one time, Itachi almost castrated him, Sasuke said with a shiver. Nobody knew why, but Itachi loved Pocky more than Naruto loved ramen. He went through 6 boxes daily and protected it with the fervor of a dying man. It was once said that when Itachi was still a genin, he had wiped out an entire bandit camp just because they made him spill his Pocky onto the ground. Naruto sat there for a few moments in silence, only broken by the sound of Sasuke eating his bento. You should eat your bento before it spoils, Sasuke said as he finished his and began stretching. Naruto began mechanically eating his bento. Why aren't you surprised? Why don't you care? Slowly Sasuke turned his eyes until they met his adopted little brother's. Because it doesn't matter. What? So what if you hold the Kyuubi? That doesn't change the fact that for the last 3 years you lived with me. It doesn't change the fact that we trained together on a daily basis. It doesn't change the fact that we grew up together. It doesn't change the fact that me, Oniai-chan, Tu-san, Ka-san and Shisui can all care about you and consider you part of our family. Do you want to know what it changes? Nothing. It changes nothing, Naruto, Sasuke said with conviction in his voice as he finished his stretching and began some chakra control exercises. If anything, I'm only sad that you didn't feel you could tell me this earlier. Had to be honest, I only found out yesterday myself, Naruto said with a smile in contrast to the tears streaming down his face. You always were a little dense, Sasuke said with a smirk. There were no words exchanged until they had arrived home later that day. Later that day, Uchiha clan head house dinner time. So how was everyone's day? HN. 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 It was fun. Me and Sasuke went out training again. Oh, did you two like the bentos I made for you? HN. Yeah, Ka-san, they were great. Another riveting conversation at the Uchiha dinner table. As they were finishing their meal, Itachi told Naruto that he wanted to talk to him in his room. Itachi's room. Naruto, the Sandaime wants me to help you contact the Kyuubi. It's okay. I already talked to it last night. I understand if you don't. Wait, what? Yeah, the night after I figured out I was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, it pulled me into my mindscape so it could meet me face to face and form a mental link. I see. Do you mind if I go into your mindscape just to inspect the seal? Sure, but I'm going to go ahead and warn you. It's a sewer for some reason. Naruto, if Shisui ever asks you to steal some girl's underwear again, say no, okay? And done. Phew, this chapter sure was huge compared to the last two. Anyway, on Friday, around the middle of the day, I plan to take the poll down, so vote while you can. Really? Only 3 people voted so far, TT_TT. Anyway, whatever wins the poll is actually going to affect the way I do the next chapter, and the way I portray Naruto. Any Naruto with Rinnegan is going to have a bit of Pain's personality where he thinks the reason people fight is because they don't understand what it means to truly be hurt, and will try to bring about world peace, happy/crossover end. Whereas Naruto with only Sharingan or no Dojutsu Naruto is going to be a Naruto that is a little bit like Kiritsugu from the Fate franchise. He will do some bad things for the greater good, saving the most lives, but he draws the line at harming those he cares about, good/true end. Naruto with Rinnegan and Sharingan will be a cross of the two. His final goal will be world peace, and will be willing to do anything to anyone but draws the line at those he cares about, sad/crossover end. Naruto won't be like this immediately, rather his personality will change over the course of the story. Also, I will be posting another poll after the one I have up right now closes. Basically, if Sharingan plus Rinnegan Naruto wins, then it will be whether Naruto has a Obito thing going where it's Sharingan in one eye and Rinnegan in the other, or like Madara where he has it in both eyes but he can switch them on the fly. Also, it will apply to only Sharingan Naruto where he has it only in one eye or both eyes. Next chapter is Uchiha Massacre, and then canon. Anyway, Heirase and Omake that I planned to put in the story, but it seemed a bit too goofy, so I edited it out and added an ending. No, it is not canon for my story. Review please. Edit 1. Okay, I really need you guys to vote on the poll cause I have bunch of scenarios in my head about how the Uchiha Massacre could go down. I'll post the snippets from the choice that have the most votes when I wake up on Thursday so you guys have a decent idea of where the FIC is going. You all will still have until Friday for me to lock in my choice though. I elaborated more on what the plot would bring. Edit 2 changed only Rinnegan to happy/crossover end. Cause we don't need two sad/crossover ends. Edit 3 Sorry I edit so much guys. This is my first story. I decided I won't put up the second poll and that I'm just going to do Madara style. Also, I will be giving Naruto the potential to use all of the Manjiki teachings, but there will be drawbacks. As for why I'm doing this is because Naruto won't be shadow clone spam training, so he won't just master everything super quick. Number 72 Our Tsukuyomi's no instant Amateratsu's none of that shit. I have an explanation for the shadow clone thing. I won't tell you until I post it in the chapter, and as for the Manjiki teachings the same, but it's pretty lengthy and I can't explain it in a chapter without making it seem awkward, so I'll put it in the next post, which will be the top 2 poll choices snippets. Omake, the real reason Itachi killed Shursui. Itachi's room after dinner. Itachi's room was as expressionless as he was. There were only 2 pictures on his bedside. His walls were uniform white, and everything else was as bland as could be. Except for the Pocky Bank. Withdrawing some strawberry Pocky from the Pocky Bank, Itachi began munching on the Pocky. Naruto knew whatever it was, Itachi was nervous to be talking about it. Itachi only ate strawberry Pocky when he was nervous. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Naruto decided to fish around to see what had Itachi so nervous. I forgive you for not telling me about the Kyuubi? HN. Nope. Wasn't that. It was something else. Maybe he wants to give you the talk about the birds and the bees? What are the birds and the bees? Hell, why don't you ask Itachi? Itachi needs, and what are the birds and the bees? Who told you about that? Asked Itachi with an intense gaze. Shursui needs and told me to ask you about it, Naruto said, feeling no shame from painting a target on the elder Uchiha's back. Eyes narrowing, Itachi replied, I see. Suddenly Uchiha Shursui felt a cold hand grip his spine. Whoa! What was that? Shursui said, looking around. Not sensing anything weird, he kept walking. That was odd. You know, I haven't felt that since Sasuke accidentally found my H collection, asked Itachi about it, and Itachi had to give him the talk afterwards. Itachi's room after an explanation to what the birds and the bees were. Naruto sat there with an extremely deep flush on his face. Itachi was also sitting there, having finished his Pocky during his explanation, with his usual stoic expression, but you could see a slight twitch in his left eye. As so this, Naruto said, pointing to his privates. HN. Blush going down to his neck, Naruto continued. G goes into a girl's. HN. And when a guy, Naruto said, the blush going down to his arms and making him look like a nice tomato. HN. I inside a girl's. HN. ANTT, that's where babies come from? HN. What if a girl and a girl? 3 days later, Shursui's body was found drowned in the Naka River. At first glance everything seemed alright with Konoha. But Konoha wasn't alright. There was civil unrest among the Uchiha clan, who were one of the most powerful clans in Konoha. Lately they had been getting more and more alienated, due to rumors that the Kyuubi attack 7 years ago was orchestrated by an Uchiha, and there were talks of a coup d'etat. That was something that could not happen. A coup d'etat by the Uchihas would make Konoha too vulnerable to enemy attacks. The Uchiha clan head house. This is getting ridiculous. We can't even let Naruto-chan outside anymore on the off chance that the other clan members might try to kidnap him, Mikoto said with a frown. We really will have to go to Sandaime-sama soon, Fugaku said with a frown. The clan elders are too caught up in their own pride as bigotry to realize that the reason the Uchiha have been getting more and more alienated is because of our pride not allowing us to admit that no one since Uchiha Madara has been able to control the Kyuubi. The clan has been getting more and more restless. Soon they might come at Mikoto and me just to remove any opposition to the coup. Fugaku finished before he turned to Itachi, who had been oddly silent. Itachi, I know you've been acting as a double agent for the Sandaime. I honestly couldn't care less. If anything, I'm proud of you that you're so willing to protect your home, and if we can't find a solution in time, promise me that you will take care of Naruto and Sasuke, Fugaku said with a knowing but kind look in his eyes. Itachi was stunned silent. The elders were trying to get him to murder his whole clan except for his little brothers. Fugaku was not a dumb man. He had probably figured out that if they were to stop the Uchiha clan before the coup, everyone would have to die, guilty and innocent alike. Otherwise the other clans would become afraid that the same thing could happen to them and rebel. He also knew that as ANBU Captain Itachi reported to the Hokage first and furthermost. Fugaku had basically just told his son, if you have to kill us, I understand. Just make sure to take care of your siblings. I understand too, San, Itachi said as he shakily walked to his room. He managed to close the door before the tears came. Naruto's room. Naruto couldn't let out a sigh as he swung a chakra construct katana around, going through some basic sword katas. The Uchihas had been getting more and more restless. There were even rumors of a coup floating around. About 2 weeks ago, Mikoto had asked Naruto to try to stay in the house as much as he could. He understood why. With the Uchiha talking about rebelling, the Kyuubi would be a powerful weapon to have, and he wouldn't put it above the usually proud and arrogant Uchihas to try to kidnap him. Yes, you finally understand why I don't like humans in general very much. Eh? You like my family and I don't you? Naruto replied as he used his chakra to make a giant blunted shuriken and went through some throwing motions. I will admit your family doesn't fit the mold that most humans come from, both your adopted and biological. However, they are more the exceptions that prove the rule rather than the rule. Eh? I don't get it? How can an exception prove a rule? Naruto said, confused. The Kyuubi always used these weird sayings that made no sense. It is a way of saying that one exception doesn't make a generally broad rule false. The fact that your family is nice compared to the rest of the clan just says that the rest of the clan is considered mean. In the same way, because your family is made of good people just means compared to your family the rest of humanity seems bad. The Kyuubi explained. The kid was smart, but he was still 8 years old. Oh, is humanity really that bad? Naruto, have I ever told you of the origins of the tailed beasts, and the true meaning behind the word Jinchuriki? No, why? Well, I'll wait. Naruto, focus your mind's eye. Sensing the urgency in the Kyuubi's voice, Naruto focused his mind's eye of the Kagura. When he did, he immediately focused on 6 signatures, one of whom was Sure. It seemed like he was fighting some people. And he was losing. Jumping to his feet, Naruto dispelled his giant shuriken and ran to the spot where he last felt Sure. In the forest. Sure grunted as he deflected another kunai on his blade, reflecting on how he got into this situation. When talks of a coup got really bad, he went to his commander, Danzo. Danzo's reaction was, of course, to massacre the clan. Sure expected that. What Sure didn't expect was for Danzo to try to steal his eyes. He had barely made it out of that hornet's nest, and now he still had 5 wasps to deal with. Dodging a thrust by one of said wasps, Sure ducked underneath and to the side, opening the root nin's stomach with his tanto. Grabbing the dying nin's body, he spun and used it as a shield to block a barrage of shuriken to his left. Using the body as a cover, Sure shunshined body flicker behind another root operative and severed his head from his neck. Ducking under a swing meant to behead him, Sure lashed out with a snap kick, knocking the blank-masked root back and through his tanto, nailing the root in the forehead. Sure took 2 kunai from his holster as the second-to-last root fell upon him, tipless tanto swinging. Ducking underneath a slash, Sure lashed out with his kunai only for the root to jump back. Senses screaming at Shui turned around but wasn't fast enough to block the punch that knocked him to the ground. Dazed Shui could only faintly hear one of the men telling the other to take his eyes. One of the root walked over to him before he ducked as a giant blue thin-bladed shuriken, think the kind Obito use, passed over him. Seeing a chance as the other root turned to look for their mysterious attacker, Shui lashed out with a kunai and cut the closest root's throat. He then shunshin behind him and jackhammered him into the ground. Shui then knelt down and put his knee on the root's neck and watched him passively as he choked to death. Looking up, Shui let his face soften as he saw Naruto run over with red pupils. Probably channeled some of the Kyuubi's chakra so he could have enough strength to throw that big shuriken. Shui mused. Shui let out an oof as Naruto body tacked him. Shui Nizan. Are you alright? I was training and I sensed that you were fighting and that you weren't doing good, so I came to help. And chuckling, Shui patted Naruto's head to calm him down. Yeah, calm down. I'm alright. Come on, let's get you home. You know that you're not supposed to be out of the house. Uchiha clan head house. On the way back, Naruto fell asleep due to this being the first time he ever used the Kyuubi's chakra. After putting Naruto in his bed, Shui went to the living room where he knew that Makoto, Fugaku and Itachi were waiting. So anything? Fugaku asked. No, he is still giving us the same deal. Everyone except Sasuke-chan, Naruto-chan and the person who does the deed dies. Hell, the bastard even tried to take my eyes. Probably would have succeeded too if Naruto hadn't come at the last second. So we are right back at square one, Shui said with a frown as he ran his hand through his hair. At this rate, it looks like we will have to take Danzo's option. I overheard some other clan members talking about trying to kidnap Naruto-kun so they could get control over the Kyuubi. I have a crow following him, but we are running out of time. I know, Itachi, I know. As the four of them headed to the clan meeting, so deep in their thoughts they didn't notice a shadow sneak into the house as they left. Naruto wasn't sure what was happening. One moment he was sleeping in his room and then the next he was bound and blindfolded. Naruto, don't move. Don't let them know that you're awake. Calming himself down, Naruto focused his thoughts inward again. Okay. Do you know what's going on? Naruto, the people who kidnapped you want to take control of me and destroy Konoha. What? How do you know? I can sense the negative emotions of those around us. What do you want to do? I don't know. What can we do? If these guys get you, then Konoha would be destroyed. No one else in Konoha has chakra strong enough for you to be sealed again. What do we do? How far are you willing to go? What? How far are you willing to go to protect your family? You might not be a shinobi yet, but shinobi stands for those that endure. You want to be a shinobi? Then tell me. How much would you endure to protect your family? Closing his eyes, Naruto thought about his family. These past 4 years had been the happiest of his life. Where he was once in hell, his new family rescued him. They brought him in, clothed him, fed him, loved him. If these people did what they had planned, then Toussaint, Kasan, Sasuke and I-Team, Shisui Nizan and Itachi Nizan, who all refused to take part in the coup d'etat, would definitely be killed. Remembering the man that he killed to protect Shisui Nizan, his conviction hardened. To protect those that he held precious, to protect those peaceful days, he would do anything. I'll endure anything. What can you do? There is not much I can do from within the seal, but your body is not completely accustomed to my chakra just yet. In order to get into your mindscape, they would have to use their Sharingan. Copy will I. If I focus enough of my chakra in your eyes, I could probably get your eyeballs to melt. They then may try to break the seal by killing you, but if so, I can just die with you and it would take me some years to reform. Then do it. Steel yourself, Naruto. It will hurt. Throughout the whole process, Naruto didn't even cry out once. Shui and Itachi were leaving the clan meeting when they heard a crow caw from the skies. Looking at each other, they shunshined in the direction the caw came from. Uchiha Setsuna was your typical power-hungry Uchiha. Even though he didn't unlock his Sharingan until he was almost 20, he still had achieved the 3-tomo state. Over the past few years, as Konoha subtly oppressed the Uchiha, he was in the same opinion as almost all the clan. That they should rebel and take what was rightfully theirs in Konoha. To that end, he recommended kidnapping the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and unleashing the Kyuubi on Konoha. When he and 15 other Uchiha had snuck into the clan head's house and grabbed the brat, everything had seemed like it was going according to plan. But once they got to their hideout, everything went downhill. When they had taken off the Jinchuriki's blindfold, they had found out the brat had somehow got his own eyes to melt. Then when they were planning on killing him to break the seal, everything went to hell. A vengeful Itachi and Shui had then fallen upon them like two starving wolves on a piece of meat. They were all ordinary clan ninja. A mostly Chunin and a few genin. They stood no chance against the enraged ANBU captain and his best friend. Everyone was killed in a matter of seconds, Setsuna himself falling to a kunai in the back of the head. Naruto couldn't see what was going on, but when they had removed his blindfold he had heard several cries of rage. When he had heard someone recommend that they kill him, he heard the swish of a sword, and a thump from a body hitting the floor. 10 seconds. Naruto couldn't see it, but that was all the time the enraged ANBU captain and his best friend needed to slaughter the entire room. Hello? Who's there? Naruto said, understandably scared because he couldn't see anything. Shit! Naruto, what did they do to you? A voice that Naruto identified as Shisui said. I'll stay here with Naruto. Shisui, go to Danzo. I didn't want to do it, but this has gone too far. I won't let my clan harm my family or his village anymore. A stoic voice said, even though you could hear the signs of barely restrained rage within it. Hold on, Itachi, if we do that then all the Uchiha will probably have to die, including your parents. What? Naruto cried out, and no, Itachi knees, and you can't, there has to be another way. I'm afraid not, Naruto. If the Uchiha clan is put down before the initial strike is made, then it will scare the other clan heads into rebelling, which will lead to a civil war. They have to be completely wiped out, and someone would need to take the blame so that they couldn't trace back the order to Konoha. Sure, Sway, I'll give Naruto my eyes and then yo. No, Itachi, I already unlocked the Manjikyu kaleidoscope. The only way to obtain it isn't killing your best friend. I'll give Naruto-chan my eyes. Meanwhile, you create a shadow clone and have it bring Sasuke-chan here so we can tell him what's going on. We promised we wouldn't hide anything from them after the Kyuubi. Then afterwards I will use my Kodo Amatsukami, distinguished heavenly gods, to seal his memory until he unlocks his Manjikyu, and I'll also tell him how to unlock it without killing the person closest to you. Kyuubi, if you can hear me, I would ask you to seal Naruto's memory. Give me some sign if you understand and can do it. Shisui said in an uncharacteristically calm voice. What? No, you can't do that, Shisui Nizan. No. Please. Was all Naruto was able to get out before he felt a small pinch on the back of his neck. As Naruto lost consciousness, he was able to still hear Itachi and Shisui's last words. When you are ready to start training with the Manjikyu, go to the Naka Shrine. In the main hall beneath the 7th Tadama mat on the far right, is the secret meeting place of the Uchiha. In there is a tablet containing the clan's secrets, and can only be deciphered with the Sharingan. Beware one who calls himself Madara, as I believe it is him who attacked your parents on the night you were born. Goodbye, Naruto-kun. Remember, no matter what, I will always love you. We can do it, Naruto-chan, we can do it because we all care for you. We might not be able to protect your innocence anymore, but we can at least make sure you and Sasuke-chan make it through this. Shinobi are people who are willing to endure anything, Naruto-chan. Endure for the greater good, endure for peace, endure for those who we care about. Because we all love you and care about you, that is why Itachi can endure exile, why Fugaku Ajisen, Mikoto-ba-chan and I can endure even death because we love you. So you finally decided to do what you had to do to protect the leaf, said Danzo. Yes, but I come with a warning, Itachi said with a Sharingan-enhanced glare. Oh, I would believe you're not in much of a position to threaten me. Itachi lowered his head as his bangs covered his eyes. If you touch Sasuke or Naruto, Itachi raised his head to reveal his Manjikyu, a 3-bladed star, blazing with power. I will leak information from Konoha to other villages and will personally make sure Konoha burns by my own hands. Naruto was later delivered to the hospital, but no one claimed to be able to remember who it was. He then spent the next month in a coma. During that month, the night that would be known as the infamous Uchiha massacre would occur. After Naruto recovered and was discharged from the hospital, he immediately went to the top of the Yondame's head on the Hokage monument. His red hair had grown while he was unconscious, though it was still super spiky, and many people would even say it had darkened to an almost blood red. As he thought about the massacre, he felt odd, almost as though he had already known about it before he was even told. When he had heard everyone had died by Itachi's hand, he felt as though he had already known that, but had been reminded, distracted by his thoughts. Naruto didn't notice his eyes change from blood red with 3 tomos to a 4-point star, marred by 4 red lines, and finally changed to a miniature pupil with 6 black concentric circles and an unearthly ice blue glow. Uchiha Sasuke was confused. Confused to why he had a voice in his head telling him to keep his Sharingan active for 3 days straight. Confused as to why everyone in his clan was killed. Confused as to why Itachi had been the one who had done it. Confused as to why Itachi had shed a single tear as he left the village he once loved after Sasuke had attacked him with his newly active Sharingan, and confused as to the feeling of understanding he felt when he thought about Itachi killing his clan. Right now he was looking for his younger brother Naruto. He had been told that Naruto left the hospital almost an hour ago. Sasuke wanted to break down to yell and scream at the unfair world. But he couldn't. Not while Naruto still needed him. Sighing, Sasuke noted that one of the things Naruto would do when he was depressed back when he was first adopted was go to the top of the Hokage monument and sit on the Yandame's head. Activating his Sharingan, Sasuke was just able to make out a blob of red hair on top of one of the spikes on the Yandame's hair. The demon has finally shown its true colors. We have to kill it before it gets the other clans. The demon cannot be allowed another family to ruin. We should take those stolen Sharingan right out of his eyes. The Professor Sarutobi Hiruzen rubbed his head as he listened to the civilian council's bickering. With the Uchiha incident, they thought they finally had a reason to execute Naruto, even though Sarutobi had repeatedly told them that it was Itachi who slaughtered his clan. Thinking that this meeting would take hours, Sarutobi took out his pipe. Enough. And promptly dropped it when someone from the civilian council silenced the rest of them. Ichiraka Tuchi was the owner of an extremely popular ramen stand in Konoha. Said stand was extremely popular due to how the Yandame Hokage and his lover used to go there before their untimely deaths. With the death of the Yandame Hokage, Ramen Ichiraka received an abnormally large amount of customers each year, as if to honor the dead Kage. Because of this, Tuchi was one of the richest merchants in the village and had eventually earned a seat on the civilian council. Years ago, when our Yandame died to defeat the Kyuubi, many of us felt a great void in our hearts, as he was loved by all of us. When we had heard that the Kyuubi had been sealed into an infant, many of us used him as our scapegoat. All the rage we felt for the Kyuubi, all the sadness we felt from the loss of so many loved ones, we all pinned on the shoulders of this poor child. Just so we could feel some measure of payback towards the beast that devastated our homes. Mistreated for 3 years in the orphanage, this poor boy eventually found happiness in family. Even as he was accepted by them, all of us, we still held on to our grudge so steadfast, so stubbornly, and alienated his family from the village. Now that family is gone. Slaughtered by one of the people said boy loved and trusted more than anything in the world. However, instead of trying to comfort him, we are once again trying to place the blame of a tragedy on this poor boy's shoulders once again. Have we truly fallen so low? Getting up, Tuchi walked to the door. I for one have never been more ashamed to call myself a citizen of Konoha. The sound of the door slamming shut echoed throughout the council chambers. Naruto wasn't sure how long he had been sitting there just staring blankly at the village. At some point his eyes had reverted back to their Sharingan form. He noted that it was pretty late in the afternoon as he heard some steps coming from behind him. Sasuke had just sat down next to him, and the two stared at the village in silence. Kasen told me about you getting Shursue's Sharingan, Sasuke said. When Naruto didn't respond, Sasuke continued. You know Kasen and Tusan edited their wills the night before the massacre. Naruto had no response other than to move his eyes to look at Sasuke. Then do you think they knew it was going to happen? Sasuke just sighed and shook his head. I couldn't say. The only person who could answer that question is Itachi. What do we do? Standing up, Sasuke put his hands on his hips. Right now. We need to get some food in our stomachs and go to sleep. I mean, what do we do about Itachi? We get strong enough to take him down and get our answers. I think Itachi didn't do this of his own will and someone forced him to do it, Sasuke said with narrowed eyes. A few moments passed in silence. Then I think we should hide our strength once we get into the academy, Naruto said, a spark once again coming into his eyes. Why? Sasuke said, confused. Naruto got up the gears in his mind, accelerating. Think about it. Why are we the only ones left? Because Itachi doesn't think we are a threat. We should keep it that way. Stay in the academy for the 4 years. Naruto started pacing, a hand on his chin. On the other hand, we have to consider the possibility that it's our lives that Itachi was protecting. What do you mean? Sasuke said with a raised eyebrow. Naruto might be dense, but there was almost nothing that you could hide from him when he really wanted to know. It's simple. Someone blackmailed Itachi into killing the clan with our lives. Someone with more power than Itachi, or someone high enough in the village structure to order our deaths, blackmailed Itachi into killing his clan, and had he not, we would have died. Granted, it may just be a theory, but we should hide our strengths just to be on the safe side. Naruto elaborated, his Sharingan seeming almost aflame with emotion. I think it may be that. Before he left, Itachi was crying. How much do you think we should hide? Sasuke asked. One of you should be dead last, and the other should be the rookie of the year. Those two are always paired together with the highest scoring kunoichi. The Kyuubi helpfully interjected. Thanks, Q-chan. Q-chan? One of us needs to be the dead last, and the other, rookie of the year, Those two are always placed together on a team. So who's going to be dead last? Sasuke said with a raised eyebrow. He had gotten used to Naruto spacing out and talking to the Kyuubi over the years. I think I should be the one to do it. The council already doesn't like me because of the Kyuubi. This is just going to make my reputation even worse in their eyes. If the demon seems to be getting too strong, then they might decide to do something about it. I'll pretend to be the dobe. Let them have a false sense of security, Naruto said, standing beside Sasuke. Then maybe hide that we don't hate Itachi too. That seemed like one of the blackmailer's objectives. Naruto just nodded, eyes forward. Sasuke looked over the horizon where a red dawn was beginning to form and turned on his Sharingan almost as if to challenge the sky. We will find the truth. We already know the flaws in this genjutsu. It's just a matter of getting strong enough to break out of it. We will bring Itachi back, and if we can't, we will go to him. He's our family, and I won't let him go when there's even a chance he may come back to us, Naruto said, Sharingan spinning with conviction. Sasuke nodded, remembering the kind older brother who would do anything for his sake. As the two boys stared forward, Sharingans blazing, they would always look back and remember that day as the day their Helican days were over. That they decided there was nothing more important than family. Not even the village. Grumbling as the first rays of sunlight hit his face, a 12-year-old Naruto Uchiha opened his eyes to reveal a 3-tomo Sharingan, copy will I. Getting up, he went to the bathroom and started the shower. As he waited for the water to heat up, he looked at himself in the mirror. Closing his eyes and stopping the flow of chakra he had been feeding them, a force of habit he picked up over the last 5 years, he opened them to reveal an ice blue-colored Rinnegan, Samara eye, that glowed with untapped power. 5 years ago, after he had awakened from his coma with his brothers, Uchiha Shurasui's eyes, he had fallen into depression, only being able to focus on how his family was gone. At some point while he was wallowing in his angst, his brother's eyes had evolved into the Rinnegan. After being told how rare and valuable these eyes truly were by the Kyuubi, he had tried many ways to hide them, eventually just settling for having his Sharingan on at all times by feeding it chakra continually. For the first year he basically had permanent chakra exhaustion, only being able to survive by falling unconscious as the Kyuubi pumped some of its chakra into his veins. Because of his, he had chakra reserves that would have made even Kisame, the tailless beast himself, drool in jealousy. Conversely, he had about as much chakra control as an old person did of their bowels. At the same time, he had no idea how to use his Rinnegan. He really had no use for activating it other than the strength, speed and chakra boosts it gave him, and unless it was a life or death situation, it wasn't worth revealing he had it in the first place. From what the Kyuubi had told him, the Sage of Six Paths also had the Rinnegan, but since the Kyuubi, along with the other tailed beasts, only came into life as the sage himself was dying, it had no idea what the Rinnegan's powers could be. Getting into the shower, he fed more power into his eyes as they changed from the Sharingan to his brother's Manjikyu, Kaleidoscope. Naruto and Sasuke had decided not to visit the Naka Shrine until Sasuke had unlocked his Manjikyu. Even though he himself had only used it 1 or 2 times, Naruto felt the pride of having had such an amazing older brother well up again when he found out how Shursui unlocked Kodo Amatsukami, distinguished heavenly gods. Kodo Amatsukami was a technique that allowed its user to go into the target's mind and manipulate them by giving them false experiences. It was the ultimate hypnotic genjutsu, having been unlocked when Shursui had obtained a near-complete understanding of how the human mind worked. When Naruto used it, he would just be bumbling through the instructions Shursui had left for him in the eye and would probably never be able to use it to the absolute degree his brother had. Turning off the shower and drying himself off as he left the chakra drain from his Manjikyu until it reverted back to the normal Sharingan, Naruto went to his dresser and put on his orange jumpsuit. While orange was an awesome color, the way the jumpsuit Naruto was wearing had it made it look stupid, and he couldn't wait for tomorrow when he would be assigned a team, and he could burn the damn thing. Over the last 5 years, Naruto and Sasuke had perfected their masks that they wore in public. Sasuke was the cold, broody Avenger with a stick up his ass who was the Rookie of the Year, and Naruto was the village idiot who was only able to get through the academy as the dead last because of his Sharingan. Other than a select few individuals that they both trusted, together the two had successfully pulled the wool over the eyes of the whole village. As he went into the kitchen and started breakfast, Naruto saw a 13-year-old Sasuke stumble into the dining room looking like a zombie. Seeing Sasuke, Naruto though about the way Shursui had unlocked his Manjikyu. About a year before his death, Shursui was stationed in an extremely sensitive location where he was eventually compromised. Shursui had then spent the next 3 days fighting constantly to get back home, constantly molding chakra into his Sharingan. When he had finally gotten back to Konoha, the sheer amount of continuously molded chakra in his Sharingan had caused it to evolve to a Manjikyu. Sasuke was trying to do the same thing at the moment, but had only been able to hold his Sharingan for about a day and a half at best. So, think you'll need some of the Kyuubi's chakra to get through today? Naruto asked, referring to the seals he made that had the ability to purify the Kyuubi's chakra and give it to other people to re-energize them. Over the last few years, Naruto and Sasuke had trained in private in the Uchiha compound, its presence always reminding them of the genjutsu they had on them about the truth of the Uchiha massacre. Naruto and Sasuke were both around mid-chunin in strength due to their younger bodies, but if they filled out they would both easily be mid-jonin in strength. Naruto himself had started studying seals over the past 4 years and guarded his notes with righteous fury. No, I should be fine. The first year you hypnotized Iruka-sensei so he wouldn't be suspicious about our grades, and then in the second year you took care of Mizuki. Mizuki had tried to take Naruto's eyes during his second year at the academy, but Naruto had chained him up and hypnotized him to spill his guts to the next person who asked him before Naruto dumped him off at the INT department. Yep, and from what I remember of our class scores, Naruto said as he set the table. He had just made a traditional Japanese breakfast. It looks like one of your fangirls is going to be the third person on our team. Haruno Sakura, I think her name was. Sasuke grunted as he began eating. Sasuke's fan club was infamously known throughout the whole village. When Naruto wasn't sure about how to act, he immediately went with the obnoxious and loud personality as soon as he saw a group of fangirls try to mob Sasuke. They often had to rely on Naruto's eyes mind of the Kagura to avoid the fangirls to get to class on time. Finishing breakfast and dumping the dishes in the sink, Naruto and Sasuke headed towards the academy. Konoha Ninja Academy. Arriving at the classroom after dodging a mob of fangirls, Sasuke immediately entered the classroom and took what Naruto had taken to calling booting pose number 1, which was leaning back in the chair with the arms on the armrests and fingers interlaced. Naruto, on the other hand, hid himself just outside the classroom so the dobe would be late as usual. Hearing rumbling, Naruto shifted a little to see fangirls Yamanaka Ino and Haruno Sakura running down the hall and trying to butt each other out of the way so they would get to the classroom first. Watching them, Naruto couldn't help but let out a little sigh at their future teammate. She was a completely and absolutely useless fangirl. While she had near-perfect marks in the classroom, her taijutsu and endurance scores were abysmal. Honestly, an encyclopedia would have been more useful than her. You could at least brain your enemy over the head with an encyclopedia. Honestly, almost all the kunoichi in this year's graduating class were massive jokes except for one. Hyuga Hinata, one of the few people in the village who knew Naruto and Sasuke's true capabilities. Average test scores. Above average scores in Shuriken Jutsu. Undefeated in Taijutsu for 3 years. About a week into the first summer break, Hinata was, what would later become a hobby of hers, stalking when she had happened upon Naruto and Sasuke training. She was so enraptured by the skill they were both showing that she let her guard down, and they had caught her. Sasuke had suggested wiping her memory, but Naruto had remembered her from the Kumo incident almost 9 years ago and asked her to keep what they were doing a secret and if she wanted to join them. During the first training session, her uncle Hizashi would always cover for her and say she was training with him. Naruto had immediately noticed that the Hyuga Gentle Fist style seemed too rigid for her. After that, he and Sasuke had come up with a more flexible taijutsu style for her that incorporated the Gentle Fist but also used the legs, feet, and elbows, think Muay Thai, as means of delivering crippling chakra strikes. Slowly but surely, Hinata had begun winning their pure taijutsu matches. When Hinata had asked them why they held back so much in the academy, Naruto had said that they were training to be ninja and secrecy was a ninja's first and best line of defense. After that, Hinata also began holding back just enough to win each taijutsu match in the academy, only to showing enough skill to get her father and the Hyuga clan elders off her back. Hearing the bell ring and Iruka begin to call roll, Naruto burst into the door. Hey Iruka-sensei. Sorry I'm late, but Sasuke and I team forgot to set the alarm, Naruto said with a wide grin as he scratched the back of his head. That's because I don't need an alarm clock though, Sasuke remarked as his fangirls swooned at how cool he was. Used to Naruto's antics, Iruka just waved Naruto to go sit in his seat. As Naruto sat in his seat next to Hinata, Iruka began to go through the roll again. Foo, did you really need to be so loud, Naruto-kun? Hinata chuckled with a sly smile and a twinkle in her eyes. Of course. How else would they believe me, Hinata-chan? Naruto said with a grin, Sharingan spinning in amusement. Over the last 3 years, Hinata had gained much of her clan's respect due to being hailed as a taijutsu prodigy on the same level as Niji. As a result, she wasn't a stuttering wreck with no self-confidence. While she still wore her baggy sweater, she had also grown her hair out so that it was near the middle of her back. Even still, she had not confessed to Naruto about the crush she still harbored on the redhead. While she had given him plenty of hints, Naruto was, as Sasuke put it, more dense than the steel plating of Kiri's warships. As Iruka began his lecture about how if they passed they would be true ninja Naruto, though about a more elegant solution to his problem with the Bunshin clone. Naruto was unable to use any jutsu that he didn't reverse engineer. This was because of his chakra being so much more potent than a normal person's, due to the Kyuubi and his Uzumaki bloodline, that normal hand seals usually didn't work for him. He had to completely recreate the jutsu so that it would cooperate with his chakra rather than just exploding in his face. This was how he was able to use the Shunshin, body flicker, Kawarimi, replacement, and Henge, transformation. For the Bunshin he was just planning on filling the room with them. As Iruka passed out the writing portion of the graduation exam, Naruto almost absent-mindedly filled out half the page before he left the other half blank, an idea he copied from his shogi partner Shikamaru. Shikamaru was the epitome of genius with an IQ of over 200. It's just too bad he was lazy as hell. But he was also the third person who, after Hinata, Sasuke and Naruto, trusted with their true capabilities. Rather than Hinata, who discovered them by accident, Shikamaru discovered it through pure brain power and observational skills. At first it was small things like Naruto and Sasuke not being winded after endurance training, but as he began to pay more attention he found more and more things. Like how Naruto always had his 2 implanted Sharingan active and still bounced around like a rabbit, while Sharingan Kakashi, a jonin of the village with a single implanted Sharingan, could only keep his active for maybe an hour before he collapsed from chakra exhaustion, or how Sasuke always got just under perfect scores for everything. Eventually Shikamaru confronted them about it, and after Naruto and Sasuke explained it to him, he promised not to say anything as long as they came over for a game of shogi every now and then. 10 minutes later Iruka collected the test papers and had the class follow him outside for the taijutsu test. The taijutsu tests were fairly uneventful except for Hinata nearly breaking Kiba's arm for hitting on her. She had made it very clear she had someone who her eye was on during the 3rd year. Naruto, being Naruto, wished her good luck and said any guy would be lucky to be with her. Sasuke had fought Choji and Naruto had fought Shino. After the rest of the class was tested, they went back inside for the ninjutsu portion of the test. Yawning Naruto sat at his desk waiting for his turn to do the tests. Bored Naruto decided to talk to Sasuke. So Duck, but how's your pink eye coming along? Translation: what long do you think you can hold your Sharingan now? Almost there, girly boy. Translation: 2 days. In this story Naruto has his father's facial structure. Who are you calling girly? You. Hell, you even have your own Bishin and Sparkle. You're not one to talk. Tia me. Dobe. Duckbutt. Bishinin. You're Bishinin too. I know, but I don't have long hair like you. It was true. Naruto's hair, while spiky, reached down to just little below his neck in a small ponytail. Naruto was opening his mouth to scream at Sasuke when Uzumaki Naruto, his name, was called for the ninjutsu test. Settling for just glaring at him, Naruto made his way down the stairs over to Iruka. Okay, please preform a henge, transformation, kawarimi, and at least 3 bunshin. Iruka monotoned. Turning into a copy of the Hokage, Naruto then switched himself with a log designated for the test before he released his henge. He then put his fingers in a ram's seal and closed his eyes in concentration. Naruto, what are you doing? Preformed the bunshin. Iruka said, curious as to what his student was doing. Got it, Iruka-sensei, just trying to use as little chakra as I can. Naruto said, eyes still closed. Iruka nodded, remembering a week ago when Naruto had broken the chakra measuring device due to overloading it with chakra. Taking a deep breath, Naruto opened his eyes. Bunshin no Jutsu. The class stared in stunned silence as every inch of the room was filled with Narutos. Okay, you can dispel them now, Naruto, Iruka said with wide eyes. Sighing as he dispelled his clones, Naruto grumbled, I don't understand why the Bunshin is on the test. It basically is a handicap for people with lots of chakra. Well, usually if they have too much chakra they just make sure then 3, even then they don't have as much chakra as you do, Iruka said as he handed Naruto his headband. TCH, whatever, Naruto said as he tied the headband around his forehead. Random street in Konoha. Walking back to their home in the Uchiha district, Naruto and Sasuke talked about what kind of sensei they would get. I don't know, Q-chan says that we would probably get that Kakashi fellow due to him being the only person in the village who knows how to use the Sharingan, Naruto said with his hands behind his head. Why do you insist on calling me Q-chan? You do know us Biju are genderless. Duno, why do you still call me Chibi-kun even though I am decently tall for my height? To me you're all tiny. I just gave you that name specifically because I know it annoys you. I show you nothing but love. Why do you give me nothing but hate? I am giving you my love, but because I'm a biju it comes out as dry sarcasm. Sasuke just stared at his younger brother as a miniature rain cloud formed over Naruto's head and began raining on him. Uchiha Training Grounds. Sasuke grunted as he deflected a punch with his forearm and kicked his attacker back. Said attacker was a ninja wearing a neon orange jumpsuit. Backflipping and landing on his feet, Naruto created 3 small chakra shuriken and threw them at Sasuke, who took out a kunai and deflected them. Focusing his chakra into a bigger flat-sided shuriken, like the kind Obito when he attacked Kakashi, Naruto threw it at Sasuke. Ducking underneath the flying wheel of death, Sasuke charged at Naruto, who formed another handheld chakra shuriken and held it in his right hand to block a slash from Sasuke. Breaking off the deadlock with a leg sweep, Naruto, that Sasuke jumped over and away from, created another shuriken in his left hand and threw them both at Sasuke. Substituting with a log that was trisected, Sasuke flashed through hand signs ending on tiger. Katon, Gokakyu! Sasuke shouted, breathing out a stream of fire at Naruto. Using his chakra as a marker instead of a brush, Naruto quickly drew a seal in the air. Said seal glowed before swallowing all of the fire and disappearing, but some of the fire had singed Naruto's cloths. Creating a chain out of chakra, Naruto sung it at Sasuke, who flipped over it, throwing kunai that Naruto deflected with a snap of his chain. Forming 3 hand seals then ended on half tiger, Sasuke began to breathe a stream of fire that compressed itself into a small ball in his hand. Oh shit! Is he really going to use that here? Naruto thought with wide eyes as he began creating a barrier with his chains. Katon Zukaku, said Sasuke as he finished forming the small fireball before throwing at Naruto. When the fireball hit Naruto's barrier, it erupted into a great firestorm that completely decimated the training ground. When the smoke cleared, a burned and smoking Naruto was lying in the center of the crater formed by the technique. You're a jackass, Naruto said as his burned skin began to steam and heal. HN. You're the one who said after this spar I want this disgrace to orange completely unrecognizable, Sasuke said with a smirk as he walked over to the burned redhead. Said jumpsuit was now destroyed to the point where it looked like a pair of shorts with one leg longer than the other. But still, damn. How are you already so good with Katon? I thought your main element was lightning. It is lightning. I only finished Sukaku last night, and it wasn't anywhere near the full effect, Sasuke said, offering Naruto a hand. Not near the full effect? What's the full effect? Naruto asked, taking the hand. I wouldn't have to throw it, and I wouldn't have had to charge it. Phew. How far are you on right on, John? At this, Sasuke scowled. I still can't manipulate the direction it goes or move while I'm doing it. May you'll get there, Naruto said, deactivating his Sharingan to reveal his Rinnegan. As Sasuke helped Naruto hobble back to their house, he asked something he had been meaning to ask for a while. So what do those Rinnegan let you do anyway? To be honest, I have no idea. Right now I only know it gives me affinities to all 5 of the nature transformations. Maybe there will be something on it inside the Naka shrine. HN. Give me another month or 2 and I'll have the Manjikyu. The hard part is getting used to the constant drain of chakra in your daily life. Not all of us are chakra monsters like you. Shooting Sasuke a dirty look, Naruto grumbled, if you don't remember, I could barely stay awake for the first year I had my Sharingan on constantly, let alone move for the first month. Not to mention it drains like 1/10 of the chakra from an Uchiha as it does for a non-Uchiha. I don't see how that's defending you against being a chakra monster. The next day, tying his hair back into its usual rough ponytail, Naruto looked at himself in the mirror. After disposing of the rest of his bulky orange jumpsuits, he had put on a set of cloths he had spent the last year inscribing seals on. While it might have just looked like a standard Chunin uniform minus the vest, dark blue pants with white bandages around ankles, and a dark blue shirt with sleeves that ended mid-forearm, and 2 red Uzumaki clan symbols on the shoulders, it was actually covered in seals. Seals that increased its durability, seals that caused it to repair itself, weight seals for training, and finally a seal that caused the cloths to get bigger as he grew. The dark blue color was so the seals would blend in more when he ran chakra through the durability seal, and it appeared all over the shirt and pants. Sure, it was plain, but it was functional. However, not wanting to part with his favorite color completely, Naruto finished his outfit with a dark orange scarf wrapped around his neck with a single weight seal inscribed into the stitching. Sasuke's odd hobby of knitting had been useful after all. Tying his headband around his arm, Naruto set off for his last day at the academy. The academy. The apocalypse was near. The end was coming, and this was the sign from Kami that it was the end. As the whole class minus 3 people continued to stare, said red-headed Science steadfastly ignored them as he continued reading his book on sealing. "Ano, Naruto-kun?" Hinata hesitantly said, seeing everyone staring at them. "Yes, Hinata-chan?" Naruto said, turning with a smile that seemed to sparkle. Blushing slightly, as she thought Naruto looked really good in his new clothes, Hinata continued. "Everyone is staring. Perhaps you should have waited until tomorrow to reveal yourself?" Maybe, but I wanted to make a good first impression to whoever my Jonin-sensei is." Hinata sighed. "That's Naruto-kun. When he wanted to be, he is quiet. By the way, your cheeks are kinda flushed. Are you okay?" Naruto asked with genuine concern on his face. Said flush was instantly replaced with a tick mark. "Dense." "Yes, Naruto-kun," Hinata said with a sickly sweet smile as she radiated an aura that promised immense pain. "I am very okay. Are you okay?" Hey, yeah, I'm fine," Naruto said as he tried to hide behind his book. As Iruka walked into the classroom, the scene he saw was one where the entire graduating class was staring at Naruto as if he was an alien while Hinata glared at the boy. Naruto must have had one of Hinata's hints that she liked him fly over his head again. Iruka mused. Clearing his throat, he gave his usual "I'm proud that you are all finally ninja and I hope you have a long and successful career" speech before he began to read out the people in each team. Team 1. Several moments later. Team 7. Uchiha Sasuke. Haruno Sakura. Insert obligatory fangirl screech owl and Uchiha Naruto. Your sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. Naruto and Sasuke glanced at each other to share a smirk. Team 8. Inuzuka Kiba. Hyuga Hinata and Aburaim Shino. Your Jonin-sensei will be Yuhi Kurinai. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10. Yamanaka Ino. Akamichi Tsuji and Nara Shikamaru. Your Jonin-sensei will be Sarutobi Asuma. That's all. Everyone be back here in 1 hour for your Jonin-sensei to pick you up. As everyone got up to leave, Kiba approached Hinata before he was intercepted by Naruto. Listen here, dog breath. I don't have a problem with you personally, but what I do have a problem with is you hitting on my friend when there is clearly someone else she likes and has rejected you multiple times. Now keep it in your pants or else I'll tell your sister," Naruto said, glaring at the Inuzuka boy. Tossing a wave and a wink over his shoulder at Hinata, Naruto then left to catch up with Sasuke. "Wow, he is really dense, isn't he?" Kiba said as though he hadn't just gotten chewed out by the dead last. Letting out a sigh, Hinata let her shoulders droop. Yes, he is, but I choose him and I'll make him understand even if I have to smack him over the head with it. I'll see you later, Kiba. Later, Hinata, Kiba said as he waved at Hinata's back. Feeling someone stare, Kiba looked up to see Shino staring at him with one eyebrow raised. "We were trying to make Naruto jealous. Obviously didn't work, and personally I'm fine with being just friends. Hinata scares me, to be honest, and I have enough women in my life who have me whipped." Nodding in understanding, Shino walked out the door without speaking a word. Catching up with Sasuke, Naruto asked, "So what do you want to do for the hour before we meet our sensei?" "I'm not really hungry." "I'm not hungry either. I guess we could go around and find out more about the guy." "Alright. I'll go ask Erojiji, you go ask around the village. Want to meet in front of the academy in like 30 minutes? Naruto asked, faintly remembering his ANBU guard from his childhood. "Sure," Sasuke replied before both ninjas disappeared in Shunshin's Hokage Tower. "Yo Erojiji, how's it going?" Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage, let a smile come to his face as he turned to the window to see a grinning Naruto. "So finally decided to stop hiding, eh?" Sarutobi said with a knowing smile. "Eh? How did you know?" Naruto asked, looking surprised. "My boy, I may be old, but I am the Hokage. Now what did you come here for? I must get back to this infernal paperwork," Sarutobi replied, glaring daggers at the pile of paperwork on his desk. "Well, I found out my Jonin-sensei is going to be Kakashi Nizan. Can you tell me anything about him?" "Well, I suppose I could tell you a few things." "In front of the academy." "So what did you find out about our sensei?" "That he's a huge pervert. And is always late." and is super lazy, and values teamwork above all else, and is the only person left in the village with a Sharingan. Sasuke finished darkly. Those fools in the council probably want him to teach you how to use the Sharingan even though we already know most of the ins and outs of it. Naruto said no small amount of venom when he said the word council. Sighing, Sasuke said, well, at least he will be able to teach us some good jutsus. I hear that he's rumored to have copied over 1,000 of them. Yeah, but we would first have to pass his test. Test? Erojiji told me that Kakashi Nizen has never passed a team in his time as a Jonin. Apparently there is another test after the graduation exam and Kakashi Nizen's is super hard. Nisan? You remember the Kumo incident where Hinata and I were almost kidnapped? HN. He was the one who rescued us from the Kumonin. HN. So what do we do? Let's just wait and see what the test is. Since he values teamwork so much, it will probably play some role in the test he uses. So according to what people told me, Kakashi Nizen is 3 hours late to just about everything. What are we going to do until then? Humming a tune to himself, Kakashi strolled along the halls of the academy. It was about 3 hours since he was supposed to pick a new team up, the one he had been failing teams the last couple years for, so he was just about on time. However, upon entering the classroom, he was surprised to find only one confused pink-haired genin. Where are your teammates? The silver-haired man asked his singular genin. I don't know, sir. After they left for the lunch break, they never came back. Feeling a finger taping his shoulder, Kakashi turned around and looked down to see his two wayward genin. Excuse me, mister, would you happen to know where our Jonin-sensei is? His name is Hatake Kakashi and is apparently a massive pervert, so we were at the hot springs looking for him to bail. The red-haired one said with a twinkle in his eye that told him that they knew where he was the whole time. The smirk the other one had didn't help either. Well, Pinky Twitch, Duck Ass asterisk Twitch Twitch asterisk and Chibiku Twitch Twitch Twitch, meet me on the roof, Kakashi said before disappearing in a Shenshin. Looking at each other, Naruto and Sasuke shrugged before forming the ram hand seal and also vanishing. The roof. You two know the Shenshin? Kakashi asked with his visible eyebrow raised. Yeah. We know a lot of stuff, Databao. We just don't go around flaunting it around like samurai, Naruto exclaimed with a grin. HN. Deception is a ninja's greatest tool after all, Sasuke grunted. It's good to see you again, Kakashi Nizen, Naruto said with a smaller smile. So you still remember me, yeah? Kakashi replied with a nice smile. Yeah, I never really thanked you for saving me and Hinata-chan, so thanks, Naruto said, sheepishly scratching his cheek. Of course. I couldn't let my Otoro get kidnapped, could I? On another note, do you know how long until your teammate gets here? She's coming up the stairs now. Almost on cue, a head of pink hair appeared from the stairs. Okay, go sit down on the bench and introduce yourselves. Well, what do you want us to say, sensei? Sakura asked. Well, your name, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, goals, and dreams. Well, can you go first? So we can know how to do it. Okay. My name is Hatake Kakashi. I like some things, dislike other things. I have no hobbies or goals. Really, I don't think you're all age appropriate to know my dreams. The three genin sweat dropped. He just told us his name. Well, you're next, Pinky. Kakashi drawled in a bored voice as he pointed at Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like looks at Sasuke and giggles. My hobbies are looks at Sasuke and giggles, and my dream is looks at Sasuke and giggles. I see any dislikes? Kakashi said with a sweat drop. Ugh, a fangirl. No, not really, Sakura said with a happy look on her face. Okay. Duck ass? Scowling, Sasuke said, my name is Uchiha Sasuke. I like training with my brother, tomatoes and hawks. I dislike traitors and liars. My goals and dreams are the same, to revive the Uchiha clan and to confront my brother. The file on him said he was an antisocial avenger with anger issues. And finally, Uchibi Tomato-kun. Tick mark forming on his head, Naruto said, my name is Uchiha Yu Naruto. I like seals, training with my brother, and foxes. My dislikes are arrogant assholes, traitors, liars, and people who can't tell a kunai from a scroll. My goal is to revive the Uzumaki clan and to confront my brother. My dream is to create a world of peace, a world where people won't have to go through the pain of losing their family. Okay, whoever did the files on Naruto and Sasuke need to be fired. Their personalities are completely off. Okay, so now we know each other. We will make a good team if you can pass the survival test, that is. Observing their reactions, Kakashi noted that while Sakura was surprised, Naruto and Sasuke looked like something they suspected was just confirmed. How interesting. A survival test? But sensei, we already passed the graduation exam, didn't we? Sakura said, confused. That was just a test to weed out the absolutely hopeless cases, but there's another test to see who truly has the mettle to be a ninja. Isn't there, sensei? Naruto asked with his Sharingan eyes slowly spinning. Kakashi noted that while his Sharingan was almost unnoticeable when Naruto was being cheerful and exuberant, when he got serious it had a real intimidation factor. That's right. However, this test only has a 66% fail rate. Only 1 out of every 3 teams pass. The test will be at 5 a.m. at Training Ground 7. I suggest you don't eat breakfast. You'll just throw it up. And on that ominous note, Kakashi shunted away. Sakura, don't go there at 5 a.m. Wait until 7:30 a.m. and make sure to eat a hearty breakfast. Once we are all there, we will devise a plan to take down Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke said. Surprised at being addressed so suddenly, she could only nod as Naruto and Sasuke shunted away. Idly, she noted that she would need to learn that at some point. So what do you think the test will be? It will probably be the bell test. Someone Kushina knew was Kakashi-sensei and had given him the same one. I don't know what that is, nor do I want to know. Do you think I should tell him about my Rinnegan? Naruto was on the way to the Nara compound for his weekly game of shogi with Shikamaru. The Nara guard, seeing who he was, opened the gate and let him in without any trouble. Perhaps. Kakashi was very close with your parents. You could trust him. Seeing Shikamaru in their usual spot with the board already set, Naruto went over and sat down to begin the game. So how's your Jonin-sensei? Naruto asked. He's troublesome. Sounds like he's going to give us some test, Shikamaru said with a lazy drawl as always. And mine too. You better pass, otherwise Yoshino-san will ream you out. By the way, when are you going to tell me about my father? I think I'm old enough to know at this point. URG. Don't remind me. I feel you don't have that final level of maturity just yet. I'll tell you what, how about I tell you when you get your first kill as a shinobi? To Naruto's credit, he managed to keep his reaction completely on the inside. What? Why? Because while the academy may show you all these fancy little tricks, you're not a true shinobi until you take someone's life. At that moment, as you watch the life drain from their eyes, is the point where you change from a civilian with an understanding of his body's energies to a shinobi. When you do take whatever poor fool's life that is unfortunate enough to be your first kill, look them in the eye. Burn that pain, that agony, that hopelessness into your soul, and make sure you never forget it. Because they will never forget you, and perhaps if you can remember the emotions on the face of your first murder, to the point where it's not just another kill, you may be able to stay human just yet. You won, Shikamaru said with wide eyes. While it happened, it was once every blue moon. So what's on your mind? Shikamaru asked. While Naruto did win sometimes, it was usually because he was distracted by something else and going on autopilot. It's just what we will have to do when we eventually become shinobi, Naruto said, spiky hair drooping. So you're worried about your first kill, huh? Well, let me put it the way my pops put it for me. Do not look away from death. It's a natural part of life. And when you have your first kill, make sure to look them directly in the eye. Feel all the emotions that the person you're killing feels. That way you can at least stay human, because if you can ever kill another human being without feeling anything, then I don't want to know you anymore. I see, Naruto said with an odd look in his eye. Well, I'll see you next week, Shika. If both our teams pass, we should get together and train sometime. Alright, later. Uchiha Clan Training Grounds. Should we really be training before our big test? Naruto asked as he went through some katas with a claymore. It's fine. I can heal myself with medical ninjutsu, and you have the Kyubi, Sasuke said, firing off a right on John. But still, Naruto grunted as his muscle burned from the strain. Kakashi Nizan is probably the strongest jonin in the village right now. We should make sure we go in at 100%. No, I don't think they would let a jonin, let alone the strongest jonin in the village, fight genin at full power. Whatever, I'm just about done, so I'll head back early. I'll see you later, Naruto said as he finished his katas and dispelled his chakra blade. Hearing the customary HN, Naruto went home to get to bed and set his alarm clock for 7:15. The next morning. As Naruto got up and made his way to the training ground after a quick breakfast, he thought about telling Kakashi about the Rinnegan. The only other person who knew about it was Sasuke. No one other than the Kyuubi and Sasuke knew about it, and he had gone to great lengths to keep it that way. Arriving at Training Ground 7, Naruto saw Sasuke and Sakura sitting on the bridge discussing something. Focusing his mind's eye outward, Naruto tried to find Kakashi. Perhaps he was already testing them? However, to Naruto's surprise, he found Kakashi standing somewhere miles away. Shaking his head to clear the thoughts of the odd habits his sensei had, Naruto made his way to his teammates after they waved him over. "So what do you think the test will be, Naruto?" Sakura asked. "Probably something to do with teamwork. Keep that in mind when Kakashi-sensei tells us what the test is," Naruto said. "How do you know it will be something about teamwork?" Sasuke asked. "Well, Konoha is known for how well its shinobi work together, and like I told you before, teamwork is one of the things Kakashi-sensei values," Naruto said, scratching his cheek with one finger. "During the test we should make sure to stick together then," Sasuke said. "Not quiet. Erojiji told me that Kakashi hadn't passed the team yet, so he probably will try to trick us in some way," Naruto pointed out. "Oh, and who is this Erojiji?" a voice asked from behind them. "Ga!" All three genin jumped as they turned around to see their sensei. "Hello to you too, my potential kawaii genin," Kakashi said with an eye smile. "When did you get here, Kakashi-sensei?" Sasuke asked, having activated his Sharingan on reflex. "Just now. We can begin the test now," Kakashi said as he took out 2 boxed lunches and a clock, before putting them on a training log. "You have until midday to get these bells," Kakashi said, holding up 2 silver bells that he attached to his waist. "Anyone who doesn't get a bell will be sent back to the academy and tied to the stumps while they watch the others eat." Raising an eyebrow when he didn't hear any of their stomachs growl, he asked, "Did you all eat breakfast even though I told you not to?" "Not quiet, Kakashi-sensei. You suggested we not eat breakfast. You didn't actually tell us not to," Naruto pointed out. "I see, make sure you come at me with the intent to kill, otherwise you'll never get a bell." "But sensei, wouldn't you get hurt?" Sakura asked. "No, if he could be beat by a team of genin he wouldn't be a jonin." Sasuke smirked, Sharingan spinning. "Well, ready, start," Kakashi said as he took out his book and the 3 children disappeared. "Well, at least they are decently hidden," Kakashi mused as he read his book. Snapping his book shut, he swung his head back before it could be cut off by a giant blue shuriken that passed over him. I can't say I've ever seen that before." Dropping his weighted scarf on the floor with a loud bang, Naruto focused his chakra into his arm. "Then you probably haven't seen this either," Naruto said as his chakra formed into chains coming out of his arm before he swung them at Kakashi, who danced through them. Dispersing his chakra chains, Naruto formed a claymore before charging at Kakashi. As he began dodging Naruto's swings, Kakashi thought to himself, even Kushina Nizen didn't have this level of control over her bloodline. Interesting. Seeing that close combat was getting him nowhere, Naruto jumped back and threw his claymore at Kakashi, who casually step-sided it. "Phew. You're good," Naruto said, getting into another ready stance. "Well, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be a jonin." "You didn't let me finish." "You're good," Naruto smirked as he formed a half-ram seal. "Katon, Gokakyu!" Kakashi heard from his side and tried to dodge but found he couldn't move due to a glowing seal on the side of his arm. "But you're not that good." "Damn. Hokage, Sama told me they were better than they let on, but I didn't expect Naruto to already know seals," Kakashi said as a massive fireball impacted the area where he was standing. "Hn, keep your guard up, Naruto. You know that wasn't enough to kill an A-rank shinobi," Sasuke said as he exited the foliage and stood back to back with Naruto. "I know. I saw him molding some chakra before the fireball hit, but I couldn't figure out what jutsu he used," Naruto said, looking around with his Sharingan. "Not above us. Not east or south. Not north or west. Then below," both boys shouted as they jumped away just as 2 hands emerged from the ground. "You both have your Sharingans active, but I don't," Kakashi said slowly as he raised his headband to reveal his closed Sharingan eye. "Let's even the score a bit." When Kakashi opened his Sharingan eye, he was damn near blinded by the redhead to his right. The kid had chakra coming off him in waves, saturating the air around him. When Kakashi had heard Naruto had gotten 2 transplanted Sharingan, Kakashi had thought the regenerative powers of the Kyuubi had caused it to take less chakra from Naruto than it did for him normally. Kakashi was wrong. For almost 4 years Naruto had the constant drain from 2 implanted Sharingan, and because of that it increased Naruto's reserves to the point where it had felt like someone had just shined the world's brightest light into his eye. Okay, never mind, Kakashi said with a sweat drop, lowering his headband over his eye again. Now they had the advantage, Kakashi mused. I can't use my Sharingan without being blinded, and I can feel Sasuke and Sakura layering genjutsu on me. At this rate I'm not going to last. I really need to get myself back in shape. Taken down by Genin. How humiliating. Trying to think of a plan, Kakashi was taken by surprise when the ground around him erupted and chains shot out, making a barrier around him. Looking to his right, he saw chains coming from behind Naruto's back just outside the barrier and going into the ground. Looking to his left, he saw Sasuke go through 3 hand seals ending on tiger and breathing a stream of fire into a small fireball in his hand. Oh shit, is that Dash Katan, Tsukaka? And Kakashi's world exploded in flames. As Kakashi regained consciousness, he felt that he was tied up and that someone was healing the worst of the burns he had. Remembering what had possibly led to this situation, he mentally groaned. Ugh, even though they did display teamwork, the 3 of them weren't supposed to beat me. Ugh, I'm never going to hear the end of this if it gets out. So how long until Sensei is healed? A voice Kakashi identified as Sakura's asked. HN. He should be waking up soon. You were right, Naruto. He does rely on his Sharingan way too much. He didn't even notice the genjutsu Sakura was putting on him until you broke it when you created the barrier. I don't really deserve any credit, Sasuke-kun. You and Naruto-san did all the work. Even the genjutsu I used was Naruto's idea. Don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. I'm sure that since we beat him he'll pass us even if we didn't get the bells. Groaning, Kakashi decided to make himself known. Opening his original eye, what happened to the bells? Chuckling sheepishly as he scratched his cheek, Naruto held up 2 pieces of charcoal. So do we pass? Sasuke asked with a raised eyebrow. Sighing, Kakashi nodded. Yeah. The test was meant to get you to show teamwork and you did. Granted, you weren't supposed to beat me. On a side note, how do you deal with the red-headed walking searchlight over there? Kakashi asked, nodding towards Naruto. Ignoring Naruto's indignant shouts, Sasuke smirked and shrugged. I had 5 years to get used to it. But you do need to do something about situations where the enemy can do something to your Sharingan. That was pathetic, to be honest. Yeah, I get it. Kakashi sighed again, then rested his head as he waited for Sasuke to finish healing him. Training Ground 7. Gah! Damn it! That was the voice of red-haired Naruto as he had a compressed sphere of chakra he was trying to make blow up in his face again. It had been a week since they had become the new Team 7. While Kakashi had insisted that they do teamwork exercises when they weren't doing D-rank missions, chores, Naruto and Sasuke had vehemently argued against that. While Kakashi still refused to train them for real, the brothers could tell that they were wearing him down. Right now the brothers were practicing while waiting for their sensei to show up, while their third teammate was reading a book on anatomy. While Sakura was a major fangirl at first, Sasuke insisting that being a shinobi was dangerous, and while he cared for her safety, that he didn't want to have to always protect her either. Huffing at how he still couldn't do the Baijidama, Naruto looked into the river to see his Manjikyu activated again. Hey, it looks like we are going to up the 4-pillar reverse consumption seal. My Manjikyu is starting to randomly activate again. Just make sure you consult the sage when you get a chance. The 4-pillar reverse consumption seal was something Naruto and Jiraiya came up with as his chakra began to become unmanageable about 2 years ago. What it did was cause a portion of the chakra that Naruto used to flow back into the seal and into the Kyuubi. When they had first applied it, the Kyuubi had, for a lack of a better term, acted like Naruto for a week, to its eternal shame. Now they warned it before they did so that it could get ready for the influx of humanized chakra. At the moment 28% of Naruto's chakra would be channeled back into the Kyuubi. While it did serve its purpose, it also had the unfortunate side effect of causing Naruto's chakra coils to expand even more, so Naruto had already been forced to increase the flow back 3 times. Lifting up his shirt and channeling chakra, Naruto watched as the 4-pillar reverse consumption seal appeared with the kanji for 28 in the center appeared superimposed over his 8 trigrams seal. Twisting it to the right until it read 34, Naruto stopped channeling chakra and let it disappear as his Manjikyu reverted to its normal Sharingan state. Who'd thought having too much chakra could be a problem? Naruto sighed as Kakashi appeared. Now you understand why a Biju's arsenal consists of gathering chakra into a sphere, compressing it, and blowing everything to hell. Thanks for teaching me the Baijidama, by the way. It's fine. While you can't blow everything to hell like us Biju can, your smaller version is acceptable for a human. Hello my kawaii little genin. Are you ready to do more teamwork exercises? Kakashi said with an eye smile. I don't understand why you have us doing these. If anything, you're only alienating Sakura more. Sasuke grunted. Well, what do you mean? Kakashi asked with a raised eyebrow. Simple. Because Naruto and I already have great teamwork, the only reason you would be having us do these teamwork exercise all the time is because of Sakura. Meaning that the reason you're not teaching us anything is also because of Sakura. Sasuke explained calmly, though you could hear hints of irritation in his voice. Turning to Naruto, Kakashi asked Naruto, do you feel the same way? Not really, but if you don't start helping me soon, then I might accidentally kill myself because I mess up a jutsu, and then Sasuke really will hate you and Sakura. Naruto said, pointing to his chakra burns. I would never let you die from something as stupid as that. I know, but they don't. Seeing the look of panic on Sakura's face, Kakashi sighed. Alright, we will spend the first hour together doing teamwork, then if I think you guys are good enough, then we can do other stuff. Good enough. Good enough. It was Sasuke and Sakura that helped me put Tora in your shower 3 days ago for always being late. Naruto shouted with his arms in the air. Turning to Sasuke and Sakura, who began sweating, Kakashi's visible eye gleamed with sadistic light. I see, then let's begin with some warm-ups then. On the other side of the village, a man in green spandex and a chunin vest, with huge eyebrows and a bowl cut, stopped and looked towards the sky. I feel a disturbance in the springtime of youth, almost as if someone's youth screamed out in horror, before it was suddenly silenced. 2 hours later at Training Ground 7. Please Huff Huff Sensei, let me rest, Huff Huff, or kill me, I really don't care at this point, Sakura said as she laid face down on the ground. Huff N. Sasuke grunted as he lay on his back. I'm going to go do another lap. I'm not really tired yet, Naruto said before he got up and started running again. Staring at the back of the redhead with seemingly infinite stamina, the remaining members of Team 7 couldn't help but sweat drop. Huff, there is something Huff wrong with that boy, Sakura said with a twitching eyebrow. Huff, there is a reason why Huff we don't have any coffee or sweets in our house, Sasuke added his 2 cents. Well, at least he's going to have a very happy girlfriend someday, Kakashi said almost offhandedly. Seeing Sakura staring at him non-believingly, Kakashi just let out a flat what? Did you really just say that about a 12-year-old? Sakura asked with wide eyes and a small blush on her cheeks before she turned to Sasuke. And you? That's your brother he's talking about, Sakura almost screamed. Sasuke, who still had not moved from his spot on the ground, just shrugged. His godfather is a self-proclaimed super pervert. You'd get used to hearing about it eventually. Hell, part of the reason we decided that I would be the one who'd be Rookie of the Year and get a fan club is because if his godfather ever heard that Naruto had fangirls, he would never let it go. Deciding to get the training back on track, Kakashi interjected, so what did you want to learn exactly? Sasuke made a humming noise. I know Naruto wants to know about elemental training and manipulation because otherwise he can't use ninjutsu due to his extremely powerful chakra. Right now the only thing he can do, other than his weapons creation, is compress his chakra and use it like a bomb. I want to learn some basic elemental manipulation, but I want to focus on my speed. Kakashi shook his head. I never thought I would see the day when someone has too much chakra to do jutsus. Sitting up, Sasuke grunted. But that's not the main problem. It's his chakra being so dense and powerful that he can't use standard hand seals to mold it. To learn jutsus, he would have to completely re-engineer them. Rubbing his chin, Kakashi muttered, I see, and his dense chakra is how he creates those weapons he always uses in spars. Since his chakra is so dense, if Naruto is lightning-natured, then he would be just a few steps away from Chidori. Sasuke grunted before he turned to Sakura. So what do you want to learn, Sakura? If you want to learn about medical ninjutsu, I can teach you the basics. You would probably be a better medical ninja than me because of your smaller reserves. Blushing, Sakura smiled. I'd like that. Sighing, Sakura continued, really, now that I know how strong you and Naruto truly are, I am starting to feel really inadequate. Hearing what Sakura just said as he jogged in, Naruto just shook his head and waved his hand. Don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. We are actually pretty averages as far as shinobi go, we just train a lot. Average shinobi don't throw around B-ranked katan and Raiten jutsus before they're 14, nor do they have so much chakra and such powerful chakra that it actually stops them from doing justice, Sakura deadpanned. Chuckling, Naruto could only sheepishly scratch his head. Shaking his head, Kakashi decided to get things started. Okay, Naruto, I heard from Sasuke that you're interested in elemental manipulation? Nod, well, I'll get you started on that. Do you know what your elemental affinity is? Asterisk, another nod, asterisk, okay, that saves time. Sasuke, you go get Sakura started on medical ninjutsu and meet back in 2 hours. Let's break. With Sasuke and Sakura. Okay, Sakura. Medical ninjutsu is the use of chakra to manipulate another's, or your own body. Because of this, it requires a complete understanding of human anatomy. The initial test for one to become a medical nin is to revive a dead fish. I'll teach you the basics, but you're going to have to go to the hospital to get real training. For now, here are the hand seals. Let's practice molding your chakra. With Naruto and Kakashi. Alright, Naruto, what is your elemental affinity? Kakashi asked in a bored tone. Kakashi-sensei, can you keep a secret? Naruto asked, scratching the back of his head. Depends. Does this secret pose any harm to yourself, your teammates, or the village? No, no, and no. Then I don't see why not, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Okay, Naruto said, closing his eyes. When he opened them, they had a miniature pupil with 6 concentric rings and an ice blue glow. What is that? Kakashi asked, a little freaked out by the odd-looking eyes. They're called the Rinnegan, and to be honest, I have no idea what they do beside give me an affinity to all 5 elements. This is the base form of my eyes, and the reason I have my Sharingan on all the time is to hide them. I see, Kakashi said. It was understandable that he would want to keep it a secret with people like Danzo running around. Turning his Sharingan back on, Naruto asked, so what element do you want to start on? Ero-sennin already started me on Earth. Shaking the surprise off, Kakashi focused again. Ero-sennin? Must be Jiraiya-sama. I think I'll start you on lightning then, since it is my main element. Also, due to your naturally dense chakra, there is a jutsu that I think would be perfect for you. I'll show you it later with Sasuke after you both finish the first step, so you guys will have a decent idea of what to do. Taking a leaf from a tree, Kakashi handed it to Naruto. Okay, Naruto, what you want to do to train a lightning affinity is vibrate your chakra to increase its piercing power and speed. When applied to a leaf, the result is Kakashi took a leaf and put it in between his hands for a moment. When he opened them again, the leaf was completely wrinkled up. When you can do this in less than 2 minutes, I'll show you the jutsu. Now I hear you have no way of making clones without making like 100 of them? Nodding, Naruto put the leaf in between his hands and sat down with a look of concentration on his face. Alright. Well, I'll show you a jutsu that you can use instead of Bunshin called Kage Bunshin in the meantime. However, don't use it too much. Why? Naruto said, confused. The Kage Bunshin isn't like other clones. It forms a solid clone. By splitting the user's chakra in half and any memories the clone gets, the original gets to once it is dispelled. However, it is very chakra intensive, even I can't make more than 4 in one day. So if you use it too much, my already unmanageable chakra will become even worse, Naruto said with a sweat drop. Correct. I'll leave it up to you how many you want to use for training, but remember my warning. Now when you dispelling your clones, here's what you want to do. 2 hours later. When Team 7 met again in the training ground, Naruto's clones were able to wrinkle the leaf in 5 minutes, and Sakura was able to do the basic Mystic Palms jutsu. While Naruto and Sakura were off doing their thing, Sasuke was training with Kakashi. After explaining how to do the basic leaf exercise for lightning, they were now training his speed. And when I say training, I mean Kakashi beating the crap out of Sasuke. Letting out oof as a fist buried itself into his guts, Sasuke tried to dodge the kick that sent him airborne, but he wasn't fast enough and landed flat on his back. Kakashi turned to address all his students. Okay, take a 10-minute rest if you need to. We will go do some D-ranks until the afternoon. Grunting, Naruto shifted into a meditative stance while sitting and dispelled his clones, getting ready to sort out the influx of information. Sakura stopped molding medical chakra and flopped down on the grass. Sasuke sat up and began healing himself. Naruto was walking to a dango hut. Sasuke had been kidnapped by a mob of fangirls, of whom included Sakura, when he came across Hinata and Team 8 in said dango hut. Hey Hinata-chan! Naruto yelled with a wave as he walked over to a aforementioned team, grinning like an idiot. Eren, Naruto-kun, how are you and your team doing? Hinata said with a smile. I'm good, Hinata-chan. We finally got our lazy ass of a teacher to teach us something, Naruto said before turning to the other members of Team 8 and giving them each a short bow. Good afternoon, Yahi-san, dog breath Hy. Shino-san. Good afternoon, Naruto-san, Kurenai said with a smile, while Shino just nodded. Hey, my breath's not that bad, Kiba objected. Yes, it is, was Shino's stoic reply. Sorry, Kiba-kun, Hinata said with a smile. I think it's a part of your unique character, Kurenai said as a small rain cloud formed over Kiba's head. Arf. Akamaru finished the combo as a lightning bolt from the rain cloud hit Kiba on the head and knocked him out of his seat. Turning her attention from the sobbing Kiba and looking around, Hinata noticed something was missing. Ano, Naruto-kun? Where is your team? Aha, Kakashi went to go do whatever it is Kakashi does in his spare time, and Sasuke kinda got kidnapped by some fangirls on our way back, so I came here to get some dango for when he gets home later tonight, Naruto said as he scratched his cheek. Bullshit. You tripped the Uchiha. You even smirked at him as he was getting dragged into the mob. No, I didn't. Don't lie to me, boy, I'm in your mind. I know everything that goes on up in here. Well, he called me Wait, what? Seriously? Everything? Yes. Everything. If I ever get you out of the seal, you wouldn't tell Ero-sennin about Dash. Maybe. What about Sakura? Shino asked with a raised eyebrow. I thought I mentioned the fangirls? Naruto said, looking oddly innocent, while the members of Team 8, minus Kiba, all grew sweat drops on their head. Naruto turned to give Hinata a smile, complete with Bishin and sparkles. So how's it going, Hinata? I missed you. We should get back together and spend some time together like we did in the academy. I miss you to Naruto-kun, and I'd like that, Hinata said with a blush on her face. Kurenai was somewhat amused at how Naruto was completely oblivious to Hinata's crush on him. Yeah, there wasn't anyone in Konoha, besides Naruto, who didn't know about the Hyuga heiress's crush. While most civilians didn't like it, many of the shinobi actually supported it due to Naruto being the last of an extinct clan. There was even a betting pool for when Naruto finally figured it out. She personally had bet around 16. That's usually when teenagers, especially shinobi, did the dirty. In their line of work, the next mission always could be the last, and you never knew when you'd come home in a body bag. Also, it helped that she heard a rumor that was about when Hayashi's wife had gotten tired of his stoicism and jumped him. Hinata was very much like her mother. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, Naruto said as he was handed a bag of dango and left. Uchiha District, Naruto and Sasuke's house. I hate you. What? It was an accident. Bullshit. I saw you smirk at me before the fangirls dragged me away. At least Sakura got you out of there? After she spent 5 minutes drooling over me and as I was dodging the more rabid fangirls. Really? I would have thought they'd have bound and gagged you. What? I said I was sorry, okay. There will be vengeance. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not this week. Maybe not this month. Maybe not even this year. But there will be vengeance, Sasuke said with a dark look in his eye as he finished the dango. Hey, why don't we get started on that exercise Kakashi-sensei gave us? Naruto said as he tried to change the topic. HN. The next day, training round 7. Alright, Naruto and Sasuke, how far did you get on the leaf exercise? I know you both practiced it when you went home last night, Kakashi said, remembering that Sakura was at the hospital to help her with medical ninjutsu, and would be with them around midday. Well, with clones I was able to get it down to 2 minutes, Naruto said, grinning. And how many clones did you use? Kakashi asked in a deadpan. He used 30. I'm down to 2 minutes also, Sasuke said. How did you get it so fast, Sasuke? I know Naruto used the Kage Bunsher. I've been using lightning jutsu in our spars for about 2 years now. My chakra was already conditioned, on top of my natural affinity, to be more lightning-natured, Sasuke said with a smirk. I see. Listen, Naruto, Sasuke, this jutsu I'm about to teach you, it's not a blade to kill your enemies, it's a blade to protect your precious people, a blade so that those you hold dear aren't taken away from you. Promise me that you'll wield this blade not for vengeance, or for glory, but to protect your precious people. Seeing the haunted look in their sensei's eyes, Naruto and Sasuke couldn't help but nod. Receiving 2 nods, Kakashi went through 3 hand seals ending on monkey before he gripped his right hand with his left. White lightning began to surge around Kakashi before gathering into his palm, where it condensed and wrapped around his hand. This is the Chidori, 1000 birds, an A-rank assassination technique, my only original jutsu wand, what I'm going to be teaching you, Once you get Jonin rank and enough proficiency in this, then I will teach you the version of Chidori that I use. The lightning dancing around Kakashi seemed to intensify and focus, turning blue. The Raikiri, lightning cutter. Seeing the shining